Anything interesting happen today? Slow news day, I guess. I saw JD Vance is going to be on Theo Vaughn. I wish Memphis wasn't so far. I'd go down there and do some videos outside the plant, but it doesn't get much further away from where I'm at to Memphis.
What you think about when you're born into a fire? Let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away, fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. Listen up now, because we're never dropping out. Beat the odds, beat the big house. The brains are bigger than the doubt. We've been thinking for ourselves, never let the truth fade away. This is bigger than ourselves, we won't let the world burn away, burn away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. To blame, haters face the world's mistakes. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. And we feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. To blame, haters face the world's mistakes. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway.
Hold on just a second. Let me finish this. So I just found out somebody passed away that I kind of knew. Well, I really know their parents more. Just a second. She was younger than me. That's crazy. All right. Here we go.
Hey Daddies, it's me, the Linda Binda from TikTok. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to thank you for watching Cold Beer Confessionals with Will Bird. I think that's just incredible. I've watched a few episodes and I'm just like very intrigued. But you know what I'm most intrigued in is Big Daddy's meat stick. I heard that it's very thick, like a good old German sausage. You know, Linda and her coochie loves that. Oh, never mind. Let's not go there. Anyways, I hope you have a good show and enjoy it as you can. There's a lot of weird things that go on, especially when it comes from the realm of Linda Bindaland. So, enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Welcome, everybody. I'm Will Bird, and this is the Cold Beer Confessional. I appreciate it. Not a lot going on today. It's not a lot to talk about, I guess. I don't know. Have you guys, anything happen? Anything big? Anything interesting? I've been kind of out of touch. It is wild out here in these streets. I don't know. I don't really know what to say. This is insane, dude. The MAGA daddies are getting divorced. Everybody's trying to like be like left and right, and we always hated Elon. We knew he was really a liberal, and then some people are siding with Elon. He's taking his friends and going home, I guess. No fucking way. Let's see what this is. Apparently, our local intelligence guy called into the show here to tell us what was actually going on. Let's see if we can get a hold of that. Jeff B. Intelligence coming right at you.
I pushed the wrong button again, kicked my own self out, but you were frozen for a reason. I don't know what the heck was going on.
Some people think it's fake. That's what Phil's trying to tell his audience, that it's fake. I don't know. This is what it's like having two dads.
Yeah, but Jeff B's around, isn't he?
No, I haven't seen Jeff B.
Jeff B's in. It says because watch. I'm going to do something. Is he there, Jeff B?
Here?
Yep.
Oh, there's Jeff B. Hey, Jeff B. Oh, we are
Got to get some intel here.
We're just having conversation, reading chat. I try to do live calls, but producer's not here, so I can't figure out how to get the volume on so everybody can hear. So anyway,
Who the fuck has 200 subscribers and needs a producer? Like, learn to fucking do this yourself. What the fuck is wrong with you?
sent you some stuff earlier to Jeff, and I asked him what the big chair had to say about this stuff. What do you think is going on between Elon and Donald Trump, Jeff?
I have the slightest damn clue.
See? Nobody knows.
Right?
Nobody knows.
You know,
Isn't the saying, I don't have the slightest clue? Not, I have the slightest clue. I don't have the slightest clue.
here goes my tinfoil hat.
Oh,
okay.
Here we go.
Perfect.
All right, there's no way that Elon Musk could have done all this Doge stuff in what was his contract? 90 days, 120 days, whatever.
I think it was 120.
Oh, by the way, almost every I saw this on let me see if I can find this video while Jeff B's talking.
120, 130.
Okay, so was he just a face to, and then get rid of him, or are they trying? Because he put out that Trump's on the Epstein list, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Trump's already said, yeah, I'm probably on it because he's been to the island. Was this is so far out in left field? Was this nothing more than a stretch to get the Democrats and the rhinos to say, put the list out from DOJ or whatever to make these people, want that list out?
Everybody's already saying put the list out, you retard.
Oh, the left? Yeah, absolutely. They would definitely put the list out to cut their nose out to spite.
They've already been trolling him about the list. Everybody on the left's already been like, I thought he was putting the list out.
Sure. How we just go from 100 people to 30 that quick? That's crazy.
It's probably restarting. I don't know. Nothing's making sense, but I knew Jeff B was in there. I saw him at the bottom. You couldn't see because you had too many monitors or something. Oh, it's nice to allow me to still have some control because one click and I got Jeff B in here. Woo! He thought it was crazy. He's like, I don't see Jeff B.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, he's not here. All right, I guess I'm not.
No, but that's the other thing. Like, what do you think, Jeff B? How does it go from Elon doing everything he did? Now, I understand, and I agree with Elon about the cuts that Doge made and the Republicans not doing anything to make a move on those cuts. I see his frustration there. That would tick me off too. But I don't see him. Why is he suddenly just flipping on Trump like he is? Like, LW just went through the whole list from his Twitter account and the X account and what he's saying about Trump putting all this crap out there. He's not a stupid man. So what the hell's going on?
The big chair never responded to you yet, Joe?
Yeah, he did send me something. Hold on.
Because I was just curious what he said.
Said Elon is nuts.
Elon's
great.
nuts.
Oh, great. Oh,
But,
boy.
when
Perfect.
is Trump on the Epstein list, he goes, not what you would think it's for.
No.
So, that.
So I don't know. When they say Epstein list, they think they're going to get a client list of people that showed up to do fucked up shit with kids, right? These were my clients, and I provided girls for them. I don't think that list exists. Right, the lists that we have are associates of his. We have flight lists. We have flight logs. We have all of his friends. I don't know what they think they're going to get. But if the list that they think they're getting, the client list, there's no way that Trump could be on that list and not being doing something horrible, right? Because he would be a client. We already know that Trump's flown with him. We already know they're really good friends. We've already seen a bunch of statements they've made. He made about how Jeffrey Epstein loved beautiful women just like him, and some of them pretty young. That was a direct quote from Trump. Like, I don't know what they think they're going to get if Trump's on this list. Not in the way you'd think, though.
I don't know. This whole thing is so damn confusing. It just, to me, it doesn't make any sense. Is this a sideshow for something else that's about ready to happen? You know, just like with Trump coming out and saying, hey, you know,
must be a sideshow.
You know, if he's found guilty, to do a pardon. Mm-hmm. Well, you know, this guy doesn't say stuff and not have a reason behind it. You know,
yes, he does all the time.
Until he's proven guilty, you know, he's suspected to be innocent.
This is your fucking hero worship. Yeah. He says stupid shit all the time.
So, but would you rather have a rapper, or would you rather take the whole system down?
Yeah, I'd rather take the whole system down.
Right.
Right. So
and there's bigger.
Give him an unconditional pardon to get the names of other people that he would no longer have to give to you. Got it.
Bigger players than P. Diddy.
Mm-hmm.
So the big problem is going to be, should Trump pardon him, people are going to have a shit fit. But like you said, if it's because he's exposing all the bigger amount of people, that is well worth it. Like you said, yes, get all the people that have harmed other people and children and whatnot. So I don't know. There's just so much craziness going on. And then what about the whole Ukraine thing with Lindsey Graham and Blumenthal going there? What do you think? Did Trump know about that? Did that come out or not?
Well, there we go again. Violation of the Hatch Act. These two can't go and negotiate on behalf of the United States without the express written consent of.
That's not the Hatch Act. That's not the Hatch Act. The Hatch Act limits political activities of federal employees and some state and local employees in connection with federally funded programs. One person said this wrong. One person. It's the Logan Act that you guys are trying to talk about. It's the Logan Act. One big right-wing influencer called it the Hatch Act, and now they're all just repeating it. And I know they know it's called the Logan Act because they tried bringing this shit up before. The Logan Act prohibits unauthorized private citizens from engaging in direct or indirect correspondence or intercourse with foreign governments to influence their actions in U.S. policy.
The State Department or the President of the United States.
They didn't. They went there to pick up money.
Well,
probably. Not only that, did you guys see Mike Pompeo went there too?
Yeah, see, that doesn't make any sense. And you know, like this phone call with Putin that he had. Now, I have my theory, what they talked about, and because Maria Zakharova, who is like equivalent to our Defense Department spokesman, come out and plainly said the attack on Russia is nothing more than Pearl Harbor. It's Russia's Pearl Harbor. So, you know, Trump has a phone call with Putin. I think maybe that conversation was, hey, we're going to aid Israel into attacking Iran. We will not hinder you taking retribution on the Ukraine. Because I think Trump's done with the whole Ukraine nonsense.
Yeah, I think he's had it. He said he was going to be out of it and he was going to let them figure it out at one point.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just a disaster right now. I'm going to wait till the dust settles and then we'll talk about it.
And it may be a while before the dust settles.
Right now it's just 100% speculation. There is nobody out there who knows what's truly going on. Nobody.
So did you see where the DOJ come out and said that the 2020, they do have ironclad proof that 2020 was stolen?
No, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, Caspitelli and Bongino.
Yeah, well, right now I'm not real happy with either one of them. They probably won't do a damn thing about it anyway. Or they'll say that they were all alone. Nobody was part of it. They were there in the building.
Look how they're mad. They're mad about the Epstein thing. Jeff B is the guy who owns a dart store. Yes.
So they got video of it.
Well,
that's all horseshit.
Well,
there's no way that guy was there in his cell all by himself. No way. Sorry, Bongino,
no.
Don't believe you.
No, I'm not referring to that.
I know you're referring to 2020. I was making a joke because you said that Dan Bongino and Cash Patel now know about it. Well, they'll just come out and say some stupid video that it's not true and that
they've got ironclad proof that 2020 was stolen. Where? They both said it. Where?
That all the ballots were in a building by themselves and they got video of them all by themselves like they did with Epstein.
Well, do you think that because of the Executive Order 14152 that Trump is authorized within the first 90 days of his presidency to invoke the Insurrection Act, that they're being told exactly what to do?
It's possible.
Because
see, that's the thing. When you know stuff like he knows, and then you got you and me that pay attention deeply, but we aren't on the inside like Jeff B. There's all these different layers that it's hard to put this crap together. But now there's an order, like you said, and he gives them authority. That's a whole different ballgame.
And why would you write an executive order if you weren't going to execute it? because you wouldn't, and you already know the results because there was already an investigation done. That's why Trump fired Mark Esper as the Secretary of Defense just weeks, if not a few months before Trump got fired. He put in Chris Miller.
Wow.
And I kept telling everybody, look, that whole J6 thing was nothing more than an elaborate cover-up. And you and I did a show where we talked about the guys with the backpacks. And then, I asked
the backpack guys. Jeff B, in all of his wisdom, where he was barely in the fucking Navy, never stepped foot on any foreign soil, could look at the guys' backpacks on January 6th and tell that they were special operators. They were special forces going in there to get Nancy Pelosi's computer so they could show how she was corrupt or some shit. But just looking at their backpacks and the way that they stacked, right? So that's when one guy puts his hand on the next guy's hand to make it through a crowd. He could tell that they were super special forces. Jeff B claims that, so he was a cryptologist. He was a radio operator. He did some radar stuff, cryptology, stuff like that, right? He claims that he was attached to the Navy SEALs and was going out with SEAL teams because he was in the Navy. But he had to get out because when he was training to be airborne, he was on an airborne training mission, jumping out of airplanes with the Navy SEALs. He had a heart attack in midair. He also says that he was in Afghanistan when George Bush came and had Thanksgiving dinner with them. He's never been to Afghanistan, and George Bush didn't go there and have Thanksgiving dinner with him. We saw his DD-214. He's never been outside the United States, ever. So you have CONUS, Continental United States Service, then you have OCONUS, outside Continental. And if you look at mine, every day that I was outside of the United States is a tick mark, right? The days add up. He has 0 days outside the United States. And it doesn't matter if you're on a super secret mission because it has to do with your pay and how much you get paid and endanger pay and where they send your paycheck. It has to do with all that, right? So even if you're on a super secret mission where they're not even telling you what country they're in, right? You're in some weird country that they don't want to reveal, you still get OCONUS time because you're outside the United States.
the big chair about it, and he, basically said I was nuts. Well, then 3 years down the road, the Gateway Pundit comes out and admits that, yes, we were told that it was an operation by Special Operations Command, Special Activities Division in the Secret Service. But you never hear anything about it.
No, nobody will talk about it.
No, but I mean, the article's still there. It goes into detail of how the whole thing was staged. And I told you from the very beginning that there isn't anything that happens inside of D.C. that the Secret Service doesn't know about.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, let's go to this. What do you guys think? Trump put out that, or retruthed the statement that somebody put out.
They also found somebody found a blurry picture of a Secret Service agent when Trump was campaigning the first time that passingly looked like Jeff B. Right? Little fat round guy, short hair, short black hair. He went out on a limb and just said, "Yep, that's me. I can't believe you guys found that. I wasn't going to tell anybody. I was part of his Secret Service detail. I wasn't going to tell anybody." Now, he's not claiming he worked for the Secret Service. He's saying that the Secret Service needed more people, so they called him up. He's retired from the FBI. He's retired from the military. He's got medical retirement. He had a heart attack while jumping out of a plane. They called him up to be a super Secret Service agent. Then we found a high-quality image of that guy. We found a high-quality image of that guy at that rally that Trump was having, and it wasn't him. It wasn't him. Now he just ignores it like it never happened.
That Biden was gone in 2020, and it is a clone and or double.
Yeah, combat zone tax exclusion. You get, that's CZTE, I think. Foreign earned income exclusions, yeah. The taxes changed.
And I was telling LW this earlier. How can the most powerful man in the United States put something out like that out? And there's a few aspects. One, the media is not covering it; they left it alone. Yeah. 2, how does he know that happened? And 3, who the hell did that then?
Well, you remember.
So it's not your regular pay is still taxed, right? If you're just overseas, you get the tax exclusion for a combat zone, but U.S. citizens and contractors get their tax exempt, but it typically doesn't apply to military tax exempt if you're not in a combat zone.
Remember when I told you the big chair was in Vegas on TV live when Biden supposedly got the whooping cough a second time and they canceled the fundraiser, and then no more than an hour and a half later, he's walking Trump out to the RNC. And when I texted him, I said, hey, when did you get a twin brother? And he said, hey, one of those didn't happen when they said it happened. And you can go look at the video, look at the timestamps. I mean, he's in both.
I think Trump's a master troller. That's what I think.
Well, you know, yeah, but you have to remember.
So he's claiming he knows the like top guy that is Trump. He keeps calling him the big chair or whatever, the top Secret Service guy for Trump. He doesn't. If you just go back, we went back. So everything he does is on video. And when you lie, you can't keep up with your lies. So just the guy that he supposedly talks to all the time at the FBI, that guy's had like 12 different positions with the FBI because he can't fucking remember the lie he told. Oh, there's a third guy at the FBI. No, the fourth in charge of the FBI. No, he's in charge of the Homeland something or other at the FBI. He just makes up everything.
What Trump said when the press asked Trump back then about Biden getting the whooping cough again. What did he say? That everybody was just dumbfounded. He said, we don't have to worry about Biden because he got the shot.
Yeah, he did.
And now you come out with this statement saying, you know, hey, it could be a clone, whatever. But then you have to go and read Trump's executive order right before he left office, authorizing Chris Miller to use synthetic rubber mask and artificial intelligence as part of an ongoing operation.
Oh my gosh.
So, I mean, all you have to do, if you go through from the time that Trump come into the White House till the time he left,
Oh my God.
to use synthetic rubber mask, but then you have to go and read Trump's executive order right before he left office, authorizing Chris Miller to use synthetic rubber mask and
An executive order that authorized synthetic rubber masks. Find it. It doesn't exist.
artificial intelligence as part of an ongoing operation.
Oh my gosh.
So, I mean, all you have to do, if you go through from the time that Trump come into the White House till the time he left, till the time he come back in, and you read every one of those executive orders, the story is there.
We were all called crazy though.
Right, well, you know, we're still going to be called crazy. We're still going to be called crazy
Yes, you all are crazy. You're crazy.
until this whole thing.
Trump's had all the shots. That's exactly right. Trump was telling you guys to get the shots. Then you guys claimed, oh, so there's two different shots. There's the Trump shot, and then there's that COVID vaccine. The Trump shot's just ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine. But how do you know which one you got? He's telling me to go get the shot. I go to the doctor, and I'm like, I need the Trump one. Wink, wink. You know what I mean, Doc? Slip him a 20.
Blows out. And you can you know there's something going on. I cannot remember a time when the U.S. Supreme Court has come out with an opinion and within days reversed their own damn opinion. And it's happened 3 times now. So
Wild times we live in. Wild times we live in.
And you know, people are saying in chat, it's a big psyop.
What are they talking about? What Supreme Court opinion do they put out and then reverse their opinion? They just make shit up, dude.
But what is the psyop for? Who's it for? Who wins? Is it real? Is it not real? That's the thing. You can say Biden's gone. And you know, there's collages out now about Trump saying he's been shot. Remember all Israelis who were saying he's been shot. He doesn't know where he's at. He doesn't know he's gone. He's shot. And it's like insane. You guys have to remember, no, take yourself out of being left or right. Take yourself as being just an American citizen living your life. And you've got the president of the United
You understand when you say, oh, he's shot. That doesn't mean with a gun, right? Something's wrong with him. I don't know. He's shot. When I say my bearings are shot, I don't mean someone shot them with a gun.
States putting this crap out there. It's nuts. It's nuts.
We don't need to decode or translate anything. He's the president of the United States with immunity for anything he says or does in his official capacity. And he's got the majority in Congress. He could just tell us. He could fire up a press conference right now and be like, oh, well, the deep state eats babies and they drink their blood and the COVID shot was a hoax and all those people are going to die next year and we've never been to the moon or whatever the fuck you want him to say.
Bringing this up, saying, hey, we need to have a cognitive test because Trump's out there saying all this nonsense. But all the Democrats and even some of the rhinos, they're dead quiet. No one is saying anything.
It's crickets. It's unbelievable. They didn't want him in the seat again the first time, let alone the second time. Now he is. Now he posts crazy stuff like that. And they did say, oh, let's pull the 25th on him. But really, that's all they said. And then they just went on with their merry way. Like, this should be major news. And it's not. And I don't.
This is the article I was looking for you guys. So this just came out a few days ago. No, it came out last month, but still, it was updated last month. At least 44 of the government contracts canceled on the orders of Elon Musk's cost-cutting initiative have been resurrected by federal agencies, wiping out more than $220 million of this group's purported savings, according to the New York Times analysis of federal spending. So even a bunch of the contracts that they still have on their website have been reinstated. So even when you hear like, oh, he promised $2 trillion, he only got $160 billion, it's really nowhere near that much. Most of these have been reinstated, and they still have them up on their website, and they're still counting them in their total. So even the total that they claim, that is fucking orders of magnitude away from what they were supposedly supposed to do, according to Elon Musk, is still overinflated.
I don't understand it.
Well, I think we are. If what we think is going on and is true,
like this one, the Department of Veteran Affairs reinstated 16 contracts, the most of any agency in the Times analysis. The department declined to comment about why, but veterans groups noted that some of the canceled contracts involved functions required by law. So they didn't know what they were canceling, right? Again, we've talked about this. They used AI or guessed or just, I don't know, blindfolded themselves and pointed at something. Some of them were required by law. One of them was like this veteran-owned business. It started with an L. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. It was like L.A. Damn it, what was the name of it? It was almost like it was a name. It was like a French name of like a La Vere or La something. It was a contract that sped up disability claims, and they were basically like an organization company that were boasting about how much they spread disability claims up, and when you like challenge those, right? When you challenge a disability claim and how they manage that, and they basically produced the back end for raters and managers and reviewers and all that shit, and they canceled it, and it basically halted the claims process for only like 3 or 4 days, right? And it was mandated by law. When the backlog got so big, Congress enacted a law that says, hey, you have to find a system to speed this up. They did. They went out and got it. It was a veteran-owned business, first of all. And it was one of the cornerstone pieces of like the VA disability, how they work a claim, right? And they had to restore that one. And it's still up on their fucking website. That contract was restored after 8 days. I was trying to see if I could find the what the name of it was. The actual website.
I mean, if I were to tell people that, back during the first Gulf War, and, they sent in a SEAL team and a British SAS to get soil samples inside of Iraq to find out if Saddam Hussein was enriching uranium or had enriched uranium anywhere within certain areas that they were concerned about. People, prior to the Gulf War, people would have said, man, you're nuts. We don't do that kind of stuff, right? And, people don't.
Who would have said that? You don't think we take air and soil samples in covert ways to see if countries are enriching uranium? I know that. I know we do that. Who would have said that we don't do this?
Don't think, we don't have any troops inside Ukraine. Bullshit. And
we're not even saying we don't have any troops inside Ukraine. We're not. The U.S. government is not even saying we don't have troops in Ukraine. I guarantee you we have troops in Ukraine. We're not engaged in war with Russia. 100% we have troops there. 100% we have assets there. Fucking NSA and CIA and shit. In fact, there was just a big article that came out a few weeks ago about how all the targeting, or a lot of the targeting of the targets in Russia, was data that was ran through Europe's wing of the CIA and passed along to a field agent in Ukraine and then handed up. But we didn't hand it up as target packages. But to stay out of, it's stupid. It's a semantic game. We handed it up as points of interest that they might be interested in. Like, hey, here's where a bunch of troops are, or here is, this asset or this airplane or this HIMARS or whatever. Here's a point of interest. Then they decided whether it was a valid target or not. Of course
if you look at it, like the way I look at it is 2020 was an attempted coup of the United States of America, both by enemies foreign and domestic. And when
by Donald Trump.
5 times that I've taken the oath. It specifically says that, right? So the military has a constitutional obligation.
By the way, Jeff B swore by Christmas of 2021 that if Trump, that is either, depending on which video you watch, it was either Christmas or that fall, or the end of the year, that if Trump hadn't come out with all the evidence, then he would call for him to be hanged at Gitmo for treason and anybody that was associated with him. And now look where we're at.
That if there's an attempted coup, to take care of it. And, you know, people say, oh, the military is woke and all this nonsense. Yeah, there's some crazy shit that goes on. But that's always been like that. It's just more publicized now. But the top tier, the guys at the GS level who are civilians that work at the Pentagon, and
of course it's Jeff B.
and all these other field sites throughout the world, you know, they take that stuff kind of serious. And so you have to come up with an elaborate plan because you only get one shot at it. And if you screw it up, the gig's up.
Yeah.
You know, and I had somebody that I talked to pretty frequently, you know, question this whole thing about the Golden Dome, right?
Yeah.
All right, and they brought up, they're like, what if the Golden Dome really isn't a defense system? You know, you're equating it to the Iron Dome of Israel. We kind of already have something.
What if it isn't a defense system? What if it's a 60-year-old man who still lives at home with his mom and runs a dart store? What if that's what the Golden Dome is?
Like that, it's called Star Wars. Ronald Reagan did that, and they thought he was crazy for doing it at the time. And this person had said, what if the Golden Dome is the actual gold that the audit was done? That's going to be our protection.
The gold they stole from the Vatican?
All that gold, all that wealth.
Oh, my God.
That'd be a cool way to look at it.
You know, because Trump's notorious for using play on words. You know, he's always doing this stuff.
No. Trump doesn't play on any fucking words. Trump says the most retarded shit, and you're like, he's a genius. When he says, can you inject light into your veins? He was talking about this study that was done in 2013 when they used fiber optic lines and were destroying bacteria within cells. You think so? You think that's what he's talking about? Or you think he's just a fucking retard? And he was like, I don't know. Fill that syringe full of flashlight and let me see if I can shoot it up.
So I don't know. I told you from the very beginning, the whole thing with Elon didn't make any sense because there was no physical way that you can institute a program called Doge. Even no matter how many computer systems you have, you still have to have human eyes to look at this stuff. So is this whole thing just a play to divert attention away from Elon Musk? I don't know. I mean, I never particularly cared for the guy. He looked kind of sinister to me anyways.
Well, okay, speaking of Elon and then everybody was coming up.
My two dads. Look out. This is very funny. That was from Austin. Thank you, Austin.
Because remember when he was in the Oval and Trump gave him the key to the White House, he had a black eye. People started saying, oh, he's in the black eye club. However, it was on the right eye, not the left eye, so the wrong eye. And then somebody...
Oh, it's the black eye club's left eyes only. That means they fuck kids. And their left eye turns black for some reason.
saying that, well, it means that something, the grid system's going to go dark, and then he's going to come in and he's going to save it with his Starlink and stuff. And now his logo on X is a big black eye.
Oh yeah, the grid system's going to go dark. 10 days of darkness, and he's going to save it with Starlink.
A big black circle. So I mean, we can't even get away from the black eye theory out there without Elon showing up in the white.
You know what I'm most happy about this falling out, if it stays in place, that Verizon and their fiber optic communication line is going to be If I ever have to fly again, I do not want Elon Musk's Starlink fucking doing any of the data for it. Sorry. I don't fucking trust it. I don't trust it. I want Verizon to do it.
White House with a black guy. And he said him and X were playing and X hit him in the eye. And
well, my friends, I'm going to have to wrap this up. So we'll roll into final thoughts here because I got things I got to do. And this has been interesting and entertaining and lots of great comments in chat. Thank you for...
God, I hate these people. I hate these people, dude. So fucking... You know that Jeff B... so a lot of you guys weren't here. Way back in the day, I don't talk about this very often, but way back in the day when I first started my stream, me and Mariah were renting. Our lease was up. We wanted to move back to my hometown. We were like 30 minutes away. And we were looking for a place to rent. And a guy that I knew was getting divorced from his wife. And we bought a house from him, technically, under like a contract. Basically like rent to own, right? And there was some issues there with the rent to own contract. My mistake, I didn't go get it registered with the county. I didn't have a lawyer look over it. I thought we were friends, whatever. Well, him and his wife start bickering about selling the house and this, and he's got a new wife that he's trying to finance shit for. So he basically puts pressure on. It's like, you got 30 days to buy the house, right? Boom. We're just out. We don't have a fucking house. We can't We couldn't finance it within 30 days. Even though I got a backer and tried to finance it, he pulled that offer off the table anyways. Anyways, we were just losing our house within 30 days, didn't know what to fucking do. Somebody in my community started a GoFundMe to raise money. And we went through the GoFundMe, and this channel knew about it, and they asked to have me on. And before I came on, I told them, like, this isn't going to change the way I cover you. This isn't going to change the things I talk about. Like, I don't believe any of your crazy theories, any of the QAnon shit. Like, I'll come on, but just so you know, this isn't like I'll never cover you again or never speak ill of you again. They said that was fine. Went through all that, went on there. We got a bunch of donations. That's how we ended up buying our first camper. That's the money we moved on, money we lived on. It was great. I'm be forever grateful for my audience for helping me out during that time. Jeff B., the guy that's talking here, started a rumor that he contacted me, allegedly, with a bunch of his wealthy veteran friends, and they were going to buy me a house free of charge. Like, they were going to let me pick out a house, and they were just going to pay for him and his wealthy veteran friends, 5 friends of his, were going to buy me a house. And that the only stipulation was that I had to meet with them, talk with them, and prove that I was a veteran. And that I refused to take their phone call. That I basically insinuating that I couldn't even prove that I was a veteran. Or he was like, "What? Who would do that? If you need a house, we were going to buy you a house. All you got to do is prove you're a veteran. Who would do that unless you're not a veteran?" Like, it was really, really, really fucked up. Like, I've seen he's seen my fucking I've posted my DD-214 before. I've got his fucking DD-214. Like, I've got more time overseas than he does. That's not even counting when I was a fucking contractor. I was over there all the time. It was just fucked up. He let his whole community believe that. He never said my name, but basically he said, imagine a veteran in this he described my situation perfectly. In this situation, they come on this show, that talk shit about us, that did this, and we were going to buy him a house, but he couldn't prove that he was a veteran.
Figured out. We'll have the producer back.
Fuck him.
We'll have the producer back next show, so we'll be able to take live calls again. But I'll go to ladies first. Tammy, final thought.
Final thought.
Okay, before the final thought, also,
No,
you guys.
final thought. Why do you always have to add to the final
listen,
thought?
we co-drive the bus. You just got to get used to it, Mr. Testosterone. I got
Oh, Tammy Tangy Tits.
let everybody know
So they
I'm
call her.
working on headline hits. I want to update and let them know.
That's
I
right.
have my computer built. My son is in the process between his working hours trying to build me a new computer. My
Question is, Tammy, will you be ready for Monday?
No, probably not. I may not. Don't shortchange me. See how men are?
I'm trying to get to the point. We're men. We get to the point.
He's
Yeah.
part of the short bus club.
Yes. Okay. Well, we'll say LW is part of the short bus.
Yep.
But anyways, so I don't know when I'll be back on again, but know that I
Will
will
it be next week?
Probably yes.
Okay,
Sometime
so-
next week.
This guy up here in the top right took his son during the Biden administration, the first year of the Biden administration, took his son to Mount Rushmore because Trump and JFK were supposed to make it, according to QAnon, we're supposed to make a big reveal and announce that he was secretly president. Still. And he tried to play it off like he didn't believe it. He's like, I knew nothing was going to happen, blah, blah, blah. But as he's ending the video and saying, well, nothing happened, I knew it, you can hear his son in the background saying, I thought Trump was going to show up.
Sometime next week, Tammy will be back for headline hits, and might not be Monday, so stay tuned. All right, what's your final thought, Tammy?
This is what I deal with all the time, everyone. This
Did he say headline Hicks?
is what he really is.
Jeff is itching to give his final thought. We're waiting for you. We're always waiting.
It was fun trolling him.
Making it last longer. So, hey,
We did so good trolling these fucking retards. He basically thinks his channels are shadow banned or whatever, so he's got this one. He's only got 200 subscribers here.
I might just like to talk.
He used to have thousands.
Landish, that's true. Yes, my final thought is this is a crazy train like one I could never imagine. We know nothing more than we did before, and it's only getting crazier because it is not just people out there saying things. It is Dan Bongino, Cash Patel, FBI, it's the President of the United States, it's Elon Musk, all the people we thought we could trust, and I'm on shaky ground with all of them. So I'm just going to have to say we got to stay prayed up, hopeful, and, not make any rash judgments because we really don't know what the hell's going on. But we're in this together. What are we going to do, right? So that's my final thought.
All right, Jeff, your final thought?
Final thought. Well, wait till you hear about the 5th plane on 9/11. That's going to be something that I was told is going to come out within 2 weeks. The 5th plane.
We should talk this weekend, Jeff.
Yeah, because this one's interesting.
The 5th plane of 9/11. What do you hear?
Don't keep your eyes off of ISIS and Al-Qaeda. Everyone's focused on the border and with the Mexican drug cartels. Check out your local law enforcement and see how many military vehicles are at their location in their motor pool. And we have till midterms. Everything, July 4th of next year, the golden.
I just told him about that before you got here, that he claimed he was part of his Secret Service, and we found a high-quality photo of him. You found it, actually, a high-quality photo, and it was not him.
Age begins. And sit back and read these executive orders. I know they're mind-boggling, but everything is spelled out in executive orders.
All right. Thanks for your final thought, Jeff. Mine's going to be short and sweet tonight. I'm just going to stay close, stay quiet, and I'm just going to watch and wait, see what happens, and we'll talk about it when it does. So thanks for joining us tonight. Thanks for joining us, Jeff. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Thanks for the caller tonight, even though I messed things up. We'll have the producer back for the next show. Tammy will be back sometime next week. She'll let you know, and maybe we'll have some shows next week as well, and there's things to talk about, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for joining us, everybody. I'm not even going to play the outro because I can't get the sound, so I'm just going to hit the kill switch, Tammy. And that's how we're going to end this thing. So thanks for joining us tonight, guys.
Yeah. Cam's still mad that Liberty bought boots instead of reimbursing him for the fucking the pillow conference.
Have a great weekend if we don't see you before, and we'll see you sometime next week.
That's right, Hefty.
How do I end this thing? There.
I'll do it. Let me do it. I
you
get the
do
button.
Hefty Jeff B. Sarasota, fuck out of here. Oh, it's bad. It's bad. Elon is melting down. So I guess I can read. Hell, fucking Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon has called for Elon to be deported. Says that investigation should be opened up, right? And that drug use, company Hold on, let's see if this will play. You might have some audio to listen to here. Let me get to the ad.
Purchasing your lenses from your optometrist.
What are you doing? Come on.
It's a leverage point because President Trump, even though he's going to run in 28, may not be here forever, so we need the debt ceiling. Here's the problem with Elon. It's very simple. He promised $1 trillion in cuts and waste, fraud, and abuse. And listen, for all the fanboys out there, I'm gonna treat you fanboys like little puppies. They're gonna rub your nose in the mess you made. All this thing about the rescissions, we're gonna do the first rescissions package, the $9.4 billion. There's not a line item in there.
Elon tweeted out that either if America goes broke, that's it. If we go broke, that's it. There's no more America. So I tagged him in a post. I said, are you and your friends in your tax bracket ready to give up your tax cuts to save America? Right? I'll give up my tax cut. What's it going to cost me, $300 for the year? Are you ready to give up yours?
11 line items, including $1 billion for NPR and $1 billion for. This has been fought. These are programmatic, right? All fanboys, Elon fanboys, take your number 2 pencil out and write this down. Programmatic means it's a program that's been passed in an appropriations bill that's called a law. Okay, people.
Oh yeah, it's every other word.
Audience to
John in chat right there is
in 2023
Australian.
The single subject bills saw Eli Crane and Matt Gaetz and MTG and Lauren Boebert and Andy Biggs all night long at 3 o'clock in the morning. And what were they arguing about? Everything that's in that first rescissions bill. And who outvoted them? The Republican Party.
Right.
On the floor of the House, and you know this, they would sit there and make these incredible arguments. You had three podiums. One was the rebels, MTG, Gates, the same people, the same 20 people up there all the time. Then you had one in the middle. It was the Rhino Republicans, and you had the Democrats. And the Democrats just sat there the whole time, and then they said, "No, we'll give the time to you." Yeah. The Democrats gave their time to the Republican establishment, who shot down everything that's on there. Everything, Sesame Street in Arabic. All of this that is not what Dozier is supposed to do. He told the President of the United States over and over and over again, I got $1 trillion of waste, fraud, and abuse. What do I mean by that? I mean the 3.5 minutes that
Trump's aides were mad at Elon Musk for planting in Trump's head. This was not on his script during that State of the Union thing he did. It wasn't really the State of the Union, but it was about that around that time. Trump's aides were mad that Elon Musk planted the idea in his head that these 100 to 300-year-old people were getting Social Security checks. And then for the next month, all the news was like, this is a lie, 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 this is a lie. They're not receiving any funds. They're not receiving any funds. Then it got so bad, they were cutting off valid people's Social Security disability and Social Security retirement. And they were having to reactivate it. And the aides were mad. That was not in Trump's script for the speech that night. But you know how Trump is. Like when something pops in his head, he just fucking says it. And they were mad that Elon planted that in his head, and then there was no proof to back it up. They've had verbal arguments about, what about the Social Security money that you said all these people were getting? It's not true. What about the $1 trillion you said you could save? You didn't come anywhere close.
President of the United States, on his advice.
Actually, they said $2 trillion to begin with. I don't want to cut them short. They said $2 trillion.
Took in the joint, the State of the Union or the joint thing to Congress. Remember the mantra of going through all the Social Security people that were 200 years old? Not one penny was ever found.
There it is. Oh, I didn't realize he was fixing to say that. So he's even talking about it.
200 years old, not one penny. State of the Union or the joint thing to Congress. Remember the mantra of going through all the Social Security people that were 200 years old? Not one penny was ever found. Okay? Where's the fraud in Medicaid, which is
Steve Bannon is probably getting a lot of his information from these aides. Right? He's still got friends in the Trump White House. I guarantee it.
was right for fraud. Never came up with anything. Where's the fraud at the Pentagon, which is the Mac daddies of waste, fraud, and abuse? Not one penny.
They didn't take shit, and they're not going to touch the Pentagon. You stupid? Steve Bannon suggested a peculiar solution to the Trump-Musk breakup. Kick the Tesla billionaire out of the country. They should initiate a formal investigation of his immigration status. Now, remember, he did some funky shit when he first was here as an immigrant. He came here on a student visa and then didn't go to school. He was out here founding companies and shit. He came here on a student visa and then wasn't enrolled in school. Because I am of the strong belief that he is an illegal alien and he should be deported from the country immediately, he told the New York Times in a phone interview. On Thursday, ex-special government employee Elon Musk and President Donald Trump went at each other's throats over Trump's signature big, beautiful spending bill, currently before Congress, leaving Republicans wondering whom to stand behind. And Bannon calls for deporting Musk. They should initiate a formal investigation of his status because I'm a strong belief that he's an illegal alien and he should be deported from the country immediately, he said in a phone interview with me. Bannon said the Trump administration should also investigate Musk's drug use, as reported by the Times, and his effort to get a classified briefing on China from the Pentagon. That was a story that came out. That Elon was basically throwing his weight around trying to get a classified briefing on China from the Pentagon. It says Trump dashed Musk's secret Pentagon briefing in China on China. Beyond tariffs and court battles over Trump's policies, two pieces of White House palace intrigue emerged Tuesday. Defense Secretary Pete Hex has suspended two top Pentagon officials, Dan Caldwell and Darren Selnick, as part of an investigation into who leaked word of a planned top secret briefing on China for Elon Musk. Axios learned that Musk or Hegseth didn't just decide to call off that briefing after the leak. President Trump himself ordered staffers to kill it. Like, that's bad news. Stop it. We're not doing a briefing for Elon Musk. What the fuck is Elon doing there? Make sure he doesn't go, Trump said, a top official recalled while telling Axios. Why it matters. Musk has annoyed several administration officials with his constant presence at the White House, his haphazard social media posts, and his slash and burn tactics at his Department of Government Efficiency. The planned Pentagon briefing, however, got him cross with the boss at the Resolute desk. POTUS still very much loves Elon, but there is some red lines, the official said. Elon has a lot of business in China, and he has good relations there. And this briefing just wasn't the right thing. I think it's only because it leaked, because it looks bad, right? They're going to plan a whole briefing. Everything was fine until it leaked that Elon was getting a briefing. Then it was like, no, are you kidding? That's corruption. We can't do that. Get the fuck out of here. The China episode became public on March 20th when the New York Times accurately reported that Musk was scheduled to the next day to receive a Pentagon briefing on military plans in case of war with China. At 11 p.m. on March 20th, Trump took the Truth Social call to report fake news from the failing New York Times. They said incorrectly that Elon is going to the Pentagon tomorrow to be briefed on any potential war with China, Trump wrote. How ridiculous. China will not even be mentioned or discussed. How disgraceful is it that the discredited media can make up such lies? Anyways, the story is completely untrue. That was what Trump said on Truth Social. But the Truth Social message wasn't posted until the plan for the Pentagon briefing for Musk had been changed. Musk still attended a briefing at the Pentagon with Hegseth on March 21st, but China was not discussed. In the White House that day, Trump let slip his true feelings about Musk's entanglements with China. I certainly wouldn't want, Elon has business in China, and he would be susceptible, perhaps, to that. he told reporters, but it was such a fake story. For his part, Musk wrote on X, I look forward to the prosecutions of those at the Pentagon who are leaking maliciously false information to the New York Times. They will be found out. Oh, thank you very much. 295 bits. Thank you very much for that. He looks forward to the prosecutions. They will be found out. The latest. After Reuters broke the news of Caldwell's suspension, Politico reported late Tuesday that Selnick also had been put on leave. This is the first two people that they run out of there for the leak, right? Besides the China briefing planned for Musk, the leak probe focuses on Panama Canal military plans, Red Sea operations, intelligence collection in Ukraine, Politico reported. He's just, I don't know. A lot of people are siding with Elon Musk over this. Do with that what you will. He's coming. We can go look. There's even MAGA people that are now on TikTok and shit that are saying, oh, it was a Nazi salute. He was trying to make Trump look bad. That was definitely a Nazi salute. He was just trying to make Trump look bad because he's been planning this all along. By the way, I heard some crazy news. So our internet has been knocked out from the flood with Helene. I was told today that if you live in Northeast Tennessee, where I live, or Western North Carolina, who also got hit pretty hard by the flooding in Helene, if you cancel your Starlink internet and then you go to turn it back on, I have a buddy who did this, right? His regular internet was restored, so he canceled his Starlink, stopped paying for it, it's $120 a month, and went back to his $80 a month with his local utilities. Well, they were having trouble with it. He doesn't think that when they fixed it, there's still something wrong with it. So he's cutting out a lot. So he went back to reactivate Starlink. There is a $500 saturation fee because so many people in the area are using Starlink. You have to pay a $500 fee on top of the $120 a month because the area is so saturated with Starlink. But it's saturated because he sent all the fucking Starlinks there, right? And we don't have $500 fucking dollars. That's incredible, right? Like, I can understand if it's just people that are a bunch of people brand Starlink, they only have so much bandwidth, right? But when it's after a disaster, I think we fucking do away with that, right? We let everybody hook up. If the internet speed's a little bit slower because there's too many people in the area, something I have to get used to, it's a disaster. That's insane, dude. But anyways, so if I'm fixing to cancel ours, as soon as fiber gets hooked back up, I'll probably let them overlap for a few days, but then I got to cancel ours. It's $120 a month. And if I have to hook it back up, I'll probably have to pay that saturation fee as well. What an amazing video from Vass. I cannot wait to see this become reality. Active users. Elon does ketamine. Trump on Epstein list. They're battling it out, I guess. Team America. If America goes broke, nothing else matters. If a country goes insolvent, let's do it.
Because if the country goes insolvent, if all the money is just spent on paying interest on debt, there's no money left for anything.
Yeah. This isn't true, right? So all we really have to worry about is inflation. We print our own money. All we really have to worry about is spending that money and keeping inflation down. What we don't want to do is spend money and just hand it out. But if we print money and spend it on infrastructure and putting people to work and shit, that's not nowhere near as bad on inflation. Okay? We can't just run out of money. We can't just go broke. We have to worry about with inflation in mind. Like, we don't want it to be super inflation, right? We don't want to hit that. We can print as much money as we need.
So that's the reason I'm doing this, is because I was looking at the big picture here, and it's like, man, our debt's getting out of control. The interest payments, the interest on the national debt, now exceeds the entire Defense Department budget.
$1 trillion a year in interest just to carry the money that we owe is $1 trillion a year.
Yes.
That is unbelievable.
And rising rapidly.
I saw a Trump post from his Truth Social saying that, oh, yeah, this might add, a few trillion to the national debt. But the CBO says that tariffs are going to come up with a few $1 trillion, right? But who's paying the tariff? We're paying the tariffs. So you're saying you'd rather give this gigantic tax break, a small one to us, and a gigantic one to the top 10%, and we'll pick up the tab through tariffs?
Rapidly. A country's no different from a person. Country overspends, country goes bankrupt. Same as a person who overspends goes bankrupt. So it's not like optional to solve these things. It's essential. So
we're going to go bankrupt.
Yes,
we are.
Because if the country goes.
All right, so that's what he shares. If America goes broke, nothing else matters. This was Slow News Day. What are we even going to talk about? So he laughs at this, obviously. JD Vance poking fun. Now, hear me out. The technocrats, like Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, Curtis Yarvin types, paid a lot of money to get JD Vance in that VP spot. Okay? A lot of money to that 500 as of June 4th, according to a news article. Damn. They must be doing it everywhere. That's insane. It's not worth it at that price, right? Like $500 for fucking internet? No. But there's some people that's their only way. That right now, it's my only way. Which is why I do not want it to lapse or something, like get cut off and then I have to pay a reconnect fee of $500 fucking dollars. Anyways, the technocrats paid a lot of money. JD Vance was not even on Trump's short list. Okay? Peter Thiel will readily admit that he called this in. He called Trump and said, JD Vance, that's your guy. He promised a lot of favors helping Trump and campaigning for Trump or whatever. But JD Vance, he wasn't even on the list. No one was looking at JD Vance to be VP, including Trump, until the technocrats put him in place. Elon Musk today called for Trump to be impeached, to get rid of Trump. Who does that make the president? Trump, the problem with Trump is that he's so full of himself, he thinks he is the Elon Musks or the Peter Thiels or the technocrats. He thinks they're all the same. But what he doesn't realize is he's their stooge. Their real goal is to use him for whatever they can, to pass whatever agenda they want, and then get JD Vance making decisions. There was a news story about, Curtis Yarvin wants these city-states. His ideal that Peter Thiel and Elon Musk and people like that buy into are these technocratic city-states that are run by a CEO and a board of directors. And basically, you're just at the whim of the board of directors and the CEO. And if you don't like it, you move to a different company, right? The states would be businesses. If you don't like it, you move to a different business, right? And live there and work there. And Trump has this idea of, you've heard him say it. He said this back in 2016, that America should start building new cities. We're going to call them freedom cities. And we're going to build up these brand new cities that are state of the art and blah, 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 and have all this technology and AI. They're trying to take that idea from Trump and make it into their technocrat cities, right? In our cynical times, most people are familiar enough with a doublespeak to understand that anything called a freedom city is likely to be the opposite. It's a sign of a delusional self-confidence in their own powers that the tech oligarchs who are financing this idiotic idea insist on going with that branding anyways. Investigative reporters Victoria Elliott and Caroline Haskins published an in-depth report on this scheme for Wired earlier this month. What immediately becomes clear is that what Silicon Valley billionaire class considers freedom cities is simply neo-feudalism, a plan to end the concept of citizenship and make every working person a serf whose entire life is controlled by the whims of their boss. They're having Trump pitch the idea, and his followers love it. Freedom cities? Are you kidding me? Yeah, I'd move to a freedom city, a MAGA city. That's what it's going to be. That's not what it's going to be. It is these freedom cities, okay? Startup city groups say they're not meeting Trump's officials to push for deregulated freedom cities. The architects of the project, like Prospera, are drafting legislation to create U.S. cities that would be free from federal regulations. Several groups representing startup cities, tech hubs, exempt from the taxes and regulations that apply to the countries where they are located, are drafting congressional legislation to create freedom cities in the U.S. that would be similarly free from certain federal laws, Wired has learned. According to interviews and presentations viewed by Wired, the goal of these cities would be to have places where anti-aging clinical trials, nuclear reactor startups, and building construction can proceed without having to get prior approval from agencies like the FDA and the NRC, the National Nuclear Regulatory Commission, and the Environment EPA. Trey Goff, the chief of staff of the startup city known as Prospera, tells Wired that he and other Prospera representatives working under an advocacy group called the Freedom Cities Coalition have been meeting with the Trump administration about the idea in recent weeks. He claims the administration has been very receptive. In 2023, Trump floated the idea of creating 10 freedom cities. Now, Goff says the Prospera's vision is to create not just 10, but as many as the market can handle. They hope to have drafted legislation ready by the end of the year. So not only would you be like a citizen of this city-state, you would also work for it. And your work is what allows you to live there. If you don't like the laws that they implement, if you think it's unconstitutional, you think they're doing, you just have to quit your job and move. It is wild. It is basically like feudalism, right? There's a king, you work the land, all of his whoever's in charge, their word is the law, and if you don't like it, fucking leave, because he owns all this. The energy in D.C. is absolutely electric, Goff says. You can tell in the meetings with the people involved that they have the mandate to do some of the more hyperbolic, verbose things that Trump has mentioned. According to Goff, Freedom Cities Coalition has briefed White House officials on 3 options for creating freedom cities. One is through interstate compacts. In this scenario, 2 or more states could set aside territories with shared tax and regulation policies with some state-specific carve-outs. Under existing law, these compacts can't be revoked, though they can be dissolved under certain circumstances. If an interstate compact is approved by Congress, it becomes valid under federal law, Goff says. The coalition is considering the congressional legislation that would give advance consent to any Freedom City compacts. That way, Congress wouldn't need to approve each. So they're basically giving advance consent saying, oh, yeah, if this comes up, they're already approved. So you don't have to approve each one. 2 other options are creating federal enclaves with special economic and jurisdictional zones, or having Trump issue executive orders to create each new Freedom City. Emergency executive orders. It depends on what Trump and the White House want to do, Goff says. Whatever pathway they want to take, we want to help them make that a reality. Now, again, the reason I'm telling you this is because, really, J.D. Vance is their guy on the inside, not Trump. He's kind of a stooge. They're probably telling Trump, like, there'll be MAGA cities, and they'll be spotless, and no homeless people, and no drugs, and no nothing. It'll just be these perfect cities. And when you bring people over, you know how you like going to the Middle East because their cities were so rich and well. We'll have cities like that you can visit with your people, right? And you can bring them over and walk through town, and everything will be perfect. But if he won't do what they want, then they will push for J.D. Vance to be there, whether it's saying Trump's on the Epstein list, or whether it's using the 25th Amendment, or whether it's impeachment. They will call the people that they have donated millions and millions and millions of dollars to, and they would say, get him the fuck out of there. He's shutting us down. He's hurting us. It's not going through. They want this so fucking bad. They've been working at this for like 30 goddamn years. They will not let Trump stand in the way of them. Maybe Trump can survive. Maybe Trump can hold out. Maybe he's got enough clout and people supporting him around, but they will do everything within their power to make this happen, whether Trump's part of it or not. This is their goal. You should read Curtis Yarvin sometime. Freedom Cities Coalition was created by an entity called Niue Capital. Oh, Niue Capital, which owns several trademarks for Prospera. Since opening on the Honduran island of Roatan in 2020, Prospera has been attracting tech workers and startups by promising low taxes, few regulations, and business-like government that considers its citizens to be akin to customers. Its financiers, including Prominos Capital, a venture capital firm backed by Peter Thiel and Mark Andreessen, and Coinbase. Startup cities outside the U.S. have largely relied on the creation of special economic zones, SEZs, where the regular rules governing businesses are waived, often in order to attract foreign investment. The hope, it appears, is to bring similar model to the U.S. Notably, the current government of Honduras considers Prospera and its special economic status to be illegal. The country's previous president, Juan Orlando Hernandez, gave Prospera a permanent charter to operate on its own terms. However, many Honduran citizens opposed Prospera. The Honduran Congress passed a law in 2022 repealing the allowance of SEZs, and Prospera sued the Honduran government shortly thereafter. The lawsuit is ongoing. So they started this. Congress said, no, we're shutting it down. They said, fuck you. We're already here. What are you going to do? Bring your army. Come get us. President Donald Trump mentioned the idea of Freedom Cities on the campaign trail in March 2023. He promised that if he was elected president, he would hold a contest to pick 10 winners to build their own freedom cities on federal land. Trump hasn't referred to the idea in the public since, but Goff says he's confident that it wasn't a throwaway line for the president. First of all, everything Trump says can be a throwaway line, right? Absolutely it can. He can throw away any. He can say, this is my number one goal, groceries. What an old word that no one uses anymore. And then forget about groceries in 2 minutes. But they are going to push him on this. They intend to follow through with all the promises they made on the campaign trail. They take it very literally. It's not just a marketing tactic. Freedom Cities Coalition is the only group currently lobbying the Trump administration. Frontier Foundation, a 501c4 organization, is working in partnership with the nonprofit Charter Cities Institute to bring Freedom Cities to the U.S. Jeffrey Mason, the head of policy at the Charter Cities Institute, tells Wired that several other groups have recently joined their effort, including the Housing Center at the American Enterprise Institute and the Foundation for American Innovation. They're drafting legislation that Mason says should be ready and hopefully sometime in the next several months. He adds that members of these groups are having casual conversations with people in the White House, in addition to Republican and Democratic members of Congress. In 2025 memo shared with Wired, the Frontier Foundation argues that domestic innovation and production has been significantly impeded for decades by outdated and unnecessarily restrictive federal regulations. Frontier Foundation President Nick Allen tells Wired that using federal land would lower the cost of development for startup cities. By the way, Elon Musk wouldn't have everybody on his back about the air that can't be breathed in fucking Memphis right now if he was in one of these freedom cities, right? They do away with the regulations. Who are you going to complain to? Elon? The Frontier Foundation suggests that federally owned land outside western cities like Boise, Idaho, Grand Junction, Colorado, and Redmond, Oregon would be suitable candidates. If we're able to get a legislative transfer of land from the U.S. government to make public-private partnership or a trust or even a private corporation, then it's a lower cost of capital, he explains. The Freedom Foundation memo also recommends allowing private landowners to become freedom cities and to allow municipalities to vote to become freedom cities. Allow federal cities to expand with the consent of the contiguous landowners. When asked why Freedom Cities movement has chosen not to focus on revitalizing existing post-industrial cities like Toledo, Orlando, or Detroit, or Toledo, Ohio, Allen tells Wired that when you're building these new facilities, you need to sort of start from scratch. Bullshit. Why don't they go into a city that's basically falling apart and fucking revamp it? Make it your utopia. He noted that Joe Biden signed an executive order instructing the federal departments to lease federal lands to be used as data centers in the final days of his administration. Data centers is far off from freedom cities. There's so much capital and there's so much political will, but yet there's an inability to develop these technologies, says Allen, and the inability comes from the lack of space and too many regulations. But Gil Duran, a former political consultant and author of the Substack newsletter Nerd Reich, warns that building new cities from scratch could have negative consequences. To be outside of the law and above the law, what does that mean for the rest of the country, he asks? It seems like you're going to start hollowing out other places in order to have these places where the rules are suspended and don't apply anymore to certain people. Yeah, the wealthy. Goff says that unlike Prospera, which has an entirely different tax structure from surrounding Honduras, Freedom cities in the U.S. would likely pay a similar amount in state and federal taxes as other American cities. The main difference would be how the cities are regulated. This is fucking scary, but they will do anything, literally anything, to push this forward. I'd vote for it if we got real spending cuts, but this bill is the largest debt increase in U.S. history. This is Rand Paul. That's like giving your 16-year-old a credit card, watching them rack up $2K on booze and gambling, then raising their limit to $10K. It's irresponsible.
Senator Rand Paul joins us, Republican of Kentucky. He's been all over the place right now.
Yeah, they're really fucking weird. The tech bros are really fucking insane, right? Like they are fucking out there. They want to be president of their own little town where no one can tell them what to do, and you are an employee, right? Imagine being an employee at this giant fucking business where your house is attached, your food is attached, your freedom's attached. You're basically in a housing unit 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And the boss does something you don't like. What the fuck do you do? They'll be able to do anything to the regular citizens in there.
Now, he's a man of the hour in many ways. Pressure is being applied, but Senator Paul, you've been through this before. What do we not know about this big, beautiful bill that you do?
Well, I'd call it the big, not yet beautiful.
Yes, it calls back to the one I think about is the railroad towns, the company stores, where you were living there, and instead of getting paid, they gave you like these wooden tokens for like a hard day's work, and you had to use that at the company stores, but the company stores' prices were inflated like 10,000%, and then you lived in a fucking man camp in a tent, and the closest place you could go to was like a fucking 10,000 miles away or whatever. You had to buy from them. You have to live with them. You have to work for them. You couldn't even catch a wagon the fuck out of there.
Could be made prettier. Could do a little touch up to make it more acceptable. There's much about it I like. I mean, I like the tax cuts. I voted for the tax cuts in 2017. I'd like to make them permanent. I agree with Art Laffer that you can reduce tax rates and actually have more revenue. So I don't accept the CBO argument that the tax cuts will add to the debt.
It'll trickle down, right?
I am for spending cuts. I don't think there's sufficient spending cuts in there, but I will work to try to put more spending cuts in there, and I could vote for it if we get more spending cuts in there. But the one thing I can't support is the third part of the bill. That's increasing the debt ceiling $5 trillion, because I think that is like drunken teenagers that run up. You give your 16-year-old a credit card. A month later, they've got $2,000 worth of debt. They've been buying booze and gambling and acting irresponsibly. Do you give them now a credit card that has a $10,000 debt limit, or do you restrict their debt limit?
Look, this Starlink thing is actually really good marketing for, like, you still have to buy he'll donate some units. Most people will still have to buy the units, right? And it'll be free for a little bit, but nowhere near long enough to get all the internet turned back on. So then you're on there monthly for him. He's made a sale. He's got you there. A lot of people just leave it because it works. Like, he's making money with this and pretending to be a humanitarian.
So I think we should put rules and strictures, try to control the spending of Congress by maybe increasing the debt ceiling for a few months, and then see if they can act in appropriate adult fashion to control spending, and then we have the discussion again every 3 months. But what they're wanting to do is raise it $5 trillion, and one thing we know...
There's no way they'll cut oil subsidies, right?
History.
Big Oil fucking loves... Big Oil's in there with Trump, right? No way.
If you raise it $5 trillion, they will borrow $5 trillion. So it really doesn't become any kind of leash if that's what we give them.
Is this applicable? Elizabeth Warren, she wants to get rid of the debt ceiling. President Trump agrees with her. Is this applicable, and would it appease you, or am I misinterpreting the fundamentals of the debt ceiling, what it is?
Well, it's sort of the opposite of what I want. They don't ever want to vote on the debt ceiling, and I want to vote on it every 3 months. So it's two polar opposites. If you never voted on it, there would be no leverage to tell the people borrowing and spending the money they're doing a bad job. It's an inflection point. It's a point of leverage. It's a point of time for debate. So in the past, under Biden, he would ask that we extend the debt ceiling for 2 years with no dollar amount, and we could spend and borrow as much as they felt like they wanted to spend and borrow with no limit for 2 years. $5 trillion is essentially limitless.
And food stamps. They're gonna restrict food stamps. They say, oh, well, we're just kind of tightening the restrictions. People would still do. No, it'll kick people off. That's why you're listing it as a savings. If you were just changing the program, but everybody's going to stay on it, exactly the same, how could you say there's going to be $10 million in savings or whatever? There wouldn't be, right? They're changing it around because they know it'll kick people off.
Because I'm not sure they can borrow more than $5 trillion. They might be able to, but it is the same thing. No restrictions on your spending. So it's the opposite thing to do. And in the past, no conservative Republican has ever voted to raise the debt ceiling. In fact, this debt ceiling is such immense proportion that it will be the largest increase in debt ceiling in our history. And it's frankly just not conservative.
Are you close to getting what you want? I mean, is there, are you guys negotiating? Are you getting a little bit like, is this going to happen, or are you at hard no matter what?
It takes 4 of us. If 4 of us could say we're not going to vote to have the debt ceiling on this bill and we want a separate vote, they will separate it. That's the only way it happens. I'm the only one that's absolutely...
Just like I tweeted Elon Musk, right? He says it's going to destroy America, basically. Okay, so are you ready to give up your tax break? Just convince your friends. Like, we don't need it. Is that going to fix everything? No. It's a damn good start, though.
Absolutely saying that now, but you've heard more from Ron Johnson on the spending. That spending needs to go back to pre-pandemic levels. I completely agree. We should
You're all right, Billy.
be spending at this alarming elevated rate that we've been doing ever since the pandemic came. And so there are the two sort of wants and asks that we have. We want lower spending levels, and we'd like to get rid of the debt ceiling. If 4 of us would say so, we'd get it. The question is whether or not there are 4 people with resolve that would stand up and demand it, because then that's the only way to get the bill passed. And yes, I'll vote for it. I'll vote to make the tax cuts permanent. I was for them before. I'm still for them. I will vote for spending cuts. Do they have to be perfect? Do they have to be every spending cut I want? No. I'm willing to tolerate whatever the majority can get to, or whatever every Republican can get to. But I'm just not voting to raise the debt ceiling $5 trillion, because at that point, Republicans own the debt. We've always historically blamed the Democrats for big spending and deficit spending, and it was true. It was a Democrat problem. But once Republicans vote for this, realize the deficit this year is going to be over $2 trillion, and if you raise the debt ceiling $5 trillion, it means you're going to be well over $2 trillion next year, too. That isn't conservative, but then who's left? If I were to vote for this, who is left on any high moral ground to call out the deficit spenders and the big spenders?
Are you suspicious at all of Lindsey Graham going over to Ukraine, I think just before the drone attack, which officially we did not know about, was in the works? I'm hearing the intelligence community did know about it, but maybe they didn't tell the executive branch, the president for whom they worked, or that.
Thank God. Trump would have told him, dude. Trump would have warned him. Trump would have let it slip.
Your thoughts on Graham, that visit, and how this impacts the bill?
There's a lot going on that's making...
You remember how... Yeah, of course they will. They fought tooth and nail and said it was the worst thing that could ever fucking happen to increase the debt ceiling under Biden. And now they're acting like, oh, it's just normal procedure. We raise the debt ceiling, let Trump do his thing. That's just what we do.
Making peace more difficult to get to. I am sympathetic to President Trump and also very supportive of his foreign policy. He's talked about trying to end the war, but escalating the war doesn't bring us any closer. Lindsey Graham is also offering a new sanctions bill that has worldwide sanctions. So what Lindsey Graham is offering is if you buy oil or gas from Russia, you'll get a 500% tariff that can be doubled in 90 days. A 500% tariff becomes an embargo. So, President Trump originally had a 140% tariff on China, and everybody said that would end Chinese trade. He went down to 30 because the markets became rattled at ending the trade precipitously. A 500% tariff on China would end all trade with China, but guess what? India buys Russia's oil. Do we want to have a 500% tariff on India that would end all trade with India? Turkey trades with Russia. Do we want to end all trade with Turkey? Most of the members of the European Union trade with Russia. Do we want to end all trade with the European Union? It would be the largest worldwide disaster in the history of our country, greater than any tariff war we've ever had. It's the most ill-conceived bill I have ever seen in Congress, and yet it has 80 co-sponsors now because most of them think it's a Russian sanctions bill and don't realize that it's a worldwide embargo if the countries don't count what we tell them to do.
If you don't mind, quickly, you were actually terrific when questioning Ron Rowe and the FBI about what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania. You were aghast by some of the failures, as so many of us were, and this thing has kind of been brushed under the carpet, it seems like to me.
Dude, the questions on Newsmax is such a fucking joke.
You were talking about accountability, and there hasn't really been any. I'm hearing that there may be some developments. There is a lot of stuff in these reports that have gone underreported, but what's next in the July 13th Butler probe, in the West Palm Beach for that matter?
The most important thing that we discovered in investigating this is that, thank God, they finally allowed the counter snipers to be in Butler. That was the first time they allowed President Trump to have counter snipers. For 6 months, his Secret Service team, as well as his campaign team, had been asking for counter snipers. Counter snipers are the people who were up on roofs with long guns to take out a sniper. So when that sniper raised up the first time, almost killed the president, did kill a gentleman behind him, and severely wounded other people, he was popping his head up to do another round of bullets, and there's a very good chance the president would have died that day, except for there was a Secret Service counter sniper that took him out with one single shot on the second go-round. That had been denied to President Trump for 6 months. And that was one of the crazy things, is that we also think that there could have been political motivation. We don't have proof of that. And the Secret Service still refuses to name names. They say some people have been disciplined, but they haven't told us whom. Yeah. We do know the head of the agency left under a cloud. We do know that the new head of the Secret Service is someone Donald Trump trusts that was from his own detail team. Those are all good things. But a lot went wrong that never should have got wrong. And all we can say is we are very, very lucky and thankful that the president wasn't assassinated.
One thing about the counter snipers, yes, that was the first occasion that they deployed the counter snipers. There was no counter surveillance unit, however. And the culture was such that you couldn't even add counter snipers without a counter surveillance unit. My understanding is like, I mean, it almost makes no sense. It's just you need a counter surveillance unit with counter snipers. And yeah.
What?
They took out the shooter. How about that? You know, I mean, it reminds me of.
You can have counter snipers without counter surveillance. They just do their job. They're in a counter sniper role.
A little bit of Dallas, I'm sorry, you know, and
there was also no one in charge. So you would think that
the reason this is the first time that he had is because the Secret Service said they thought there was a credible threat at that time. So they rolled out more teams. They rolled out more Secret Service agents. They rolled out more because they thought there was a credible threat at that time. They didn't reveal why there was a credible threat, but there you go.
Afternoon, several hours before the event, someone would walk around and say, hey, there's a low-lying roof 50 yards from the stage. Someone could lay up there with a gun. No one noticed it because no one was in charge. Afterwards, no one took responsibility.
Two of the agents left their post, right? One of them went downstairs to do something, got locked out, and the other, it was local law enforcement, and the other one went down there to help him get back in the, what the fuck?
And there was a window of time of at least 3 or 4 minutes, and really 45 minutes, when they could have taken the president off the stage and no one had the wherewithal. Even when people were shouting, man on a roof, gun, the crowd was shouting that, no one took the president off the stage. They had about a 3-minute window, and because their communications was so screwed up, but whoever's in charge shouldn't do this again because they showed utter incompetence.
Well, I think it's beyond that. Really.
They should have had better communication. That's really on them. They should have had a radio channel dedicated to everybody, or passed out their own fucking radios if they're using different types of radios, whatever. That's on them.
The Senate work was excellent, the report.
Oh, yeah, that's probably what it was, because Iran had said that they were going to try to kill the president at some point for Soleimani.
A lot of people didn't read it, but I think we need a whole commission because there's so many unanswered questions and so many questions that actually haven't been asked. I again commend you, though, for your service and what you did in the fallout from Butler. Thank you very much, Senator Rand Paul, who happens to be an eye doctor, an ophthalmologist. That is incredibly impressive. You can operate on an eyeball. The most fascinating organ, isn't it?
Absolutely, without question.
I'll show you my most fascinating organ. Elon's stance is principled. Trump's stance is practical. Tech needs Republicans for the present. Republicans need tech for the future. Drop the tax cuts. Cut some pork. Get the bill through. Elon Musk reposted that. He also shared this.
Of a Mar-a-Lago party shows Trump giving Epstein his personal attention. The footage, shot in November of 1992, before Trump opened the resort as a club, shows the future president surrounded by cheerleaders for the Buffalo Bills and Miami Dolphins, capturing Trump's fun-loving bachelor lifestyle for an appearance on Faith Daniels' NBC talk show.
So communication should have been, it was all fucked, right? That's really bad. And on the Secret Service, if they're in charge, right, when the president comes to town. And the second thing is they should have had like a QRF, even if it's 3 or 4 guys that are armed and battle rattle ready to go. That the first time that he was reported looking suspicious walking around with his backpack or whatever, they should have been able to put a team on him and find him. They should have fucking lost him. One guy keeps eyes on while calling up the team. The team comes, they hand him off to them, and they should have been able to get him there. Search his backpack, whatever the fuck they were doing, run him off, whatever.
Great ratings in your show.
Trump is surrounded by women as music blares in the background. After a while, Trump goes to greet 3 new guests. Among them, the financier Jeffrey Epstein.
Who is this giant motherfucker? This is Nephilim-looking son of a bitch. Who is this? No one's going to mention he's 2 foot taller than everybody in the picture? What the fuck? He had a duck to get below that lot. Who is that?
3 new guests. Among them, the financier Jeffrey Epstein. More than a decade before his guilty plea on state prostitution charges. Later in the footage, Trump is seen talking to Epstein
Paladin.
As women are dancing.
A Palladian.
Trump alternates between dancing.
lizard people.
Pointing out women to Epstein and the other man and telling Epstein about the cameras.
Growth hormone.
Though exactly what they say is difficult to understand as they discuss the women and their appearances. Trump gestures to one and appears to say to Epstein, look at her back there. She's hot. And
she's hot.
Then Trump says something else into Epstein's ear that makes him double over with laughter. But as the president said,
so he shares that. That's pretty fucking damning. Trump tariffs will cause a recession in the second half of this year. So this is in response to someone saying, can I finally say that the Trump's tariffs are super stupid? I don't know what this one is.
There was a story that I read about him that really affected me, which was when he was talking to Bill Gates, and Bill Gates had just taken out some huge short on Tesla, like $1 billion short or something. And, and Elon was like, why would you do that? Why would you short Tesla? And Bill goes, well, I talked to my financial advisors and I looked at the math and there's no way it's overvalued and so I'm going to make money on the short.
Here's something while they're talking about Tesla stock. Whenever you're talking about like deep-seated corruption within a government, there's a lot of doublespeak, there's a lot of hiding, there's a lot of fake news, there's a lot of biased reporting, right? There's people that report that hate Trump, there's people that report that love Trump. One thing you can typically look at is money, where it's going, who it's going to, who it's not going to. And what I think shows clear-cut corruption within the fucking Trump administration, Tesla stock dropped like crazy today just because the president has a personal issue with the owner of that company. Trump's personal issues should not affect valuations of fucking businesses. But they are, because the whole world knows, including investors, that if you're on Trump's bad side, he's going to try to destroy your contracts and your business and all that shit. Right? It's one thing for the stock to drop when Elon does something. He's the owner of the company, right? But when someone just doesn't like you or is having a spat with you, it's crazy. It's crazy that the stock goes like that. But they know what's going to happen, right? Law firms are doing the same thing, right? Fucking college investment endowments and shit like that are doing the same thing. That's pretty crazy. That should not happen, right? Those two guys should be able to meet in a ring and fucking beat the shit out of each other. And it shouldn't, Wall Street shouldn't be betting on the fact that Trump beat up Elon or Elon beat up Trump, that the stock is going to go down. That's weird. But they can see it coming. They know that contracts will stop. They know that funding will stop. They know that special privileges will stop. They know that approvals, process approvals for like when they apply for something will stop, that grants will stop flowing. They know. It's a personal grudge from the corruption within the White House.
And Elon goes, what do you care about making money? I thought you were into electric cars and climate change and saving the world. What are you doing, like trying to save a few bucks and betting against? Like, and he just walked away and just.
I wouldn't be surprised if Elon keeps this up, that if Trump starts walking back his stance on Chinese electric vehicles, that he put such a high tariff on, that Biden extended and raised the Chinese, because the Chinese can build them so fucking cheap right now.
Disgusted. I think he never talked to Bill Gates after that. And that's when I realized, like, Elon's a purist. He means what he says. Like, the money is a tool for him to get what he's trying to do. And so I take him at face value, which is the crazy thing. Because a lot of people who set these audacious goals to inspire people, but you kind of know they don't really mean it. Elon, I take at face value. So I really do think he intends to get to Mars. I don't think he's joking about that. And I think he means to get there within a defined window of time. And I don't think it's just like an inspirational, faraway goal. I think he's very, very concretely going to do whatever it takes. Because Elon doesn't want to go down in history as the electric car guy, or even the guy who saved America guy.
Yeah.
He wants to go down as a guy who got humanity to the stars. Yeah. And I don't think, again, I'll give him more credit than that. I don't even think he wants to go down as the I got humanity to the stars guy. He's just like, I want to get.
That's silly. I would say a lot of people that invested early on were skeptics, but they just knew that they could be hitting the jackpot.
To the stars. And so I have to make it happen in this lifetime. The only way that I get to.
They're blurring everything, especially with the crypto. The crypto is wild, right? The crypto deals they're doing with foreign countries and special dinner plates. And they're like, well, he's not the president when he speaks to the crypto guys. That's his personal time. He's still the fucking president. What do you mean? if a local sheriff, it comes out that he's the leader of the local Ku Klux Klan, are you going to be like, well, that's his personal time? Fuck. He's a racist when he's off work. When he's at work, he's the nicest guy you ever met. Of course he's still the fucking president.
Experience the science fiction world in my head is if I get to the stars. And so that's so inspirational. I think that drives everything. So I think the government...
If he's not the president when he's at the meme coin dinner, then why was Secret Service not pulled away from him, right? He shouldn't have had any fucking security there. He's not the president then.
My head is if I get to the stars. And so that's so inspirational. I think that drives everything. So I think the government was just a thing that got in his way.
Trump will not only pull grants and contracts and all the things, he will help other companies to hurt Elon Musk. Investors know that. Elon probably knows that. Everybody around Trump knows that. So he shares this with a little concerned face. The relationship between Trump and Epstein is well established. Trump flew on Epstein's plane at least 7 times, so it's not clear if he ever went to the island. Here's Trump. Here's what Trump said about Epstein in 2002 New York Magazine profile. Epstein likes to tell people that he's a loner, a man who's never touched alcohol or drugs, and one whose nut life is far from energetic. And yet, if you talk to Donald Trump, a different Epstein emerges. I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. Trump booms from a speakerphone. He's a lot of fun to be with. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do. And many of them are on the younger side. No doubt about it, Jeffrey enjoys his social life. This right here, if anybody else was saying this, especially if it was somebody like associated with the music industry or Hollywood or something like that, the Q-tards would already be like, pedophile. He's part of the Panda Eyes. He's a pedophile, drinking blood, adrenochrome. But with Trump, they're like, oh, no, he just didn't know what was going on there. Really? Sounds like he knows what's going on there, about how much he likes beautiful women and how young they are. But Trump was also talking about 10-year-olds at this time, saying, in 10 years, she's going to be my girlfriend. A 10-year-old he saw in an escalator and says, in 10 years, I'm going to be dating her. That's crazy, right? Ian Miles Chong says, President versus Elon. Who wins? My money's on Elon. Trump should be impeached, and J.D. Vance should replace him. And Elon Musk says yes. Trump should be impeached, and J.D. Vance should replace him. And Elon says yes. %. This is Elon's other account. A lot of people think. Some people think it's a different person. It says the world's greatest fiction writers couldn't have conceived of a timeline like this. Elon says 100% laughing emoji. In light of the president's statement about the cancellation of my government contracts, at SpaceX will begin decommissioning its Dragon spacecraft immediately. So the Dragon spacecraft is a government contract for NASA to fucking send people, right? It is the 7 passengers to Earth orbit and beyond. And it is a ISS, crew transport, resupply. It does everything. And Donald Trump said the easiest way to save money in our budget, billions and billions of dollars, is to terminate Elon's governmental subsidies and contracts. I was always surprised that Biden didn't do it. Now, again, this just screams corruption. Because if he really either one, he really thinks this and didn't do it because he was friends with him. Or 2, he's only doing this because the guy currently disagrees with him. Both of those are corruption, but that's the only 2 options. He didn't just happen to think of this today and be like, you know what? I forgot that Elon gets billions of dollars in government subsidies. No, there's only two options, and they're both corruption. One is he knew that this should be canceled a long time ago. Surprised Biden didn't do it. And he's only doing it now for this moment, right? Because he was friends with him. Or 2, this isn't true, and he's only doing it to hurt him because he's disagreeing with him. There's no other option. Elon Musk, with that face again, it says President Trump on Elon Musk. Elon has never asked. Oh, we'll just listen to it.
People, we're lucky to have.
He says he has Trump derangement syndrome.
People, we're lucky to have. I have to tell you, I want to thank you all, and Elon, I want to thank you. I know you've been through a lot with this horrible situation that happens.
That's right, saving America.
It's very unfair. What he is a patriot. Here's a man that I can tell you, he's a friend of mine. People, we're lucky to have. I have to tell you, I want to thank you all, and Elon, I want to thank you. I know you've been through a lot with this horrible situation that happens.
That's right, saving America.
It's very unfair. What he is a patriot. Here's a man that I can tell you.
I thought this is his remarks on him today. This isn't. This is an older one.
He's become a friend of mine. He supported me in the election. That's when I got to know him. Really, I knew him a little bit from the first term. But
you guys don't remember the clip of Trump saying, and Elon, he come to me and he begged like a dog. He begged like a dog. Please save my electric cars. And he's not so good, but he begged like a dog. And I said, okay. Like, that's what Trump used to say about Elon.
Not much, but he's a patriot more than anything else. He's never think of it. He has never asked me for a thing. He could have. I always say, I wonder if he's ever going to ask me for something. And that's always subject to change. And if it does change, I'll let you know about it. But Elon has never asked me for a thing. I mean, I got rid of the electric car mandate. I have no idea how that affects him, but possibly not good. I don't know. But he's never asked me for a thing. And I think that's an amazing tribute. I did get activated last week when I saw what they were doing. I said, he makes an incredible product, and we're going to go out and tell.
If he really wants to hurt his pocket, he would do away with the, there's like this subsidy for buying an electric car that makes it like thousands of dollars cheaper. And it works on used cars as well.
People, you can't do that stuff and support him. They got to support him.
There's a electric car, used car salesman I follow on TikTok. He's got some nice cars. And one of the big things is like, hey, you get this EV credit. It's like fucking thousands of dollars, $4,000 or $5,000.
Because if he wasn't doing this, he wouldn't have any of these difficulties. And I think it's getting less and less. Pam has done a great job with regard to all of the, I mean, I know the kind of investigations that are going on. If she finds them, which she will, she already found 4 of them. But I think they're going to suffer very grave consequences because they're really terrorists when you think about it. They're terrorists at a high.
I don't think there is an electric car mandate, okay? What it actually is that under Biden, they had a vehicle fuel efficiency standard that was rolling in over years. Over years and years and years, vehicles had to get more fuel efficient. And Republicans basically called that more efficient in general. So, like, you can take all your cars. Let's say Ford could take all their cars, and they, on average, they have to get at least this many miles per gallon. So that basically means that some of the automakers have to produce electric cars. And they called that the electric vehicle mandate.
High level. And I think the people that are financing them, they could very well be people I know, people that you write about. But those people are in big trouble.
50% of new vehicles sold in the U.S. Would be battery powered was their target by 2030. That's just a goal they had, the Biden administration.
So they better cut it out. But Elon's a patriot. We want to thank you very much for the job you're doing. Thank you very much.
That's when the president sets a target that he'd like to see 50% of that's not a law, like, right? You know what I mean? What they're actually rescinding is the fuel efficiency standards. They're rolling them back. The president's goal is not enforceable, right? It was just Biden was saying that, and there were stricter fuel efficiency mandates that were going. But there we go. Time to drop the really big bomb. This is the one that got everybody amped up. Time to drop the really big bomb. Real Donald Trump is on the Epstein files. This is the reason why they have not been made public. Have a nice day, Donald J. Trump. Mark this post for the future. The truth will come out. He says this just gets better and better. Go ahead and make my day. Eric Berger says this would both end the International Space Station and simultaneously provide no way to safely deorbit it. Talking about the contracts for SpaceX. Such an obvious lie, so sad. Trump fires back at Elon. The online battle begins. It says Elon was wearing thin. I asked him to leave. I took away his. Now, we had been given reports of this. A lot of people were tired of Elon, didn't like Elon. Elon was abrasive. They didn't like his way he acted on social media. They didn't like the things he did, all that shit. Hold on. We had been hearing that from all kinds of people within the White House. This wearing thin, it does seem like that may have been true, or at least people were saying it. I asked him to leave. We don't know if that was true or not. He's at the end of his 120 days that he was supposed to be here. I took away his EV mandate that forced everyone to buy electric cars that nobody else wanted. Have you ever heard that someone's forcing you to buy an electric car? What is this? This doesn't exist. I know the Republicans like to fucking jerk off to it. You're getting rid of the EV mandate. Nobody's going to force me to buy. No one's forcing anybody to buy an electric car. Nobody. That he knew for months I was going to do, and he just went crazy. So allegedly, it was just like when Trump actually did it, Elon's like, oh, fuck it, I'm out of here. It says Elon Musk has always been in favor of ending EV tax credits. EV tax credits is what the context added by the fact checkers. Konstantin Kizin says, what Elon Musk is doing is genuinely heroic. He will win no friends in politics and will be ostracized by the current administration, but he's totally right. We, the entire Western world, simply cannot go on pretending our way of life is sustainable. Historically, countries build up surpluses in peacetime and then go into debt to fight wars. We are going into more and more debt during peacetime. Clever economists will tell you this is sustainable. It is not, and someone has to do something about it. We're always, I don't know what, we're always going to have debt. Don't let people tell you we're not. We're always going to have debt. That is what he said about Jared. This is what he said about Jared. It says, I'm delighted to nominate Jared Isaacman, an accomplished business leader, philanthropist, pilot, and astronaut, an administrator of the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA. Jared will drive NASA's mission of discovery and exploration, paving the way for groundbreaking achievements in space science, technology, exploration. Over the past 25 years as founder and CEO of Shift4, Jared has demonstrated exceptional leadership, building and trailblazing global financial technology company. He's also the co-founded and served as CEO of Draken International, a defense aerospace company for over a decade, supporting the U.S. Department of Defense and our allies. Jared's passion for space, astronaut experience, and dedication to pushing the boundaries of exploration, unlocking the mysteries of the universe, and advancing new space economy make him ideally suited to lead NASA into the bold new era. Congratulations to Jared and his wife Monica and their children Mia and Liv. I don't know why this is relevant. What the Jared thing is. This is what he said about Jared. Did he say something? Did he do something about this Jared guy and now call him out or something? I'm not going to say who wrote the bill, but Elon, it's time to wake up to the forces extracting from our oh, that's a Jew thing. Oh, that's what he said about Jared. Shocking. As if criticizing the golden son-in-law is blasphemy now. Stop worshiping the polished face of failure wrapped in titles. With all due respect, Elon, could you just please call him and figure this out together? We need this. No need for all this drama bullshit on social media. I know both of you want what is best for America. People are already saying, are you on Team Musk or Team Trump? I used to be a Trump person, but not anymore. He's such a hypocrite and a liar. All he wanted was to win, and he used anybody he could get. Trump flew on Epstein's jet 7 times. That's in government release logs. Now Elon says he's in the sealed files, not hearsay, not theory, just a predator protecting a predator. You called everyone else a pedo. Turns out you were projecting. Elon, we need you guys on the same team. Elon Musk will finish Donald Trump politically. I don't know what this has to do with Jared Isaacman. Did he say something bad about him? And now he's saying this is what he used to say about him or something, because this is all the way back from December 4th. Who is right, Elon Musk or Donald Trump? Elon Musk, but not for the right reasons. Congress is spending America into bankruptcy. And then he shares this post. Interest costs, U.S. debt, $1.13 trillion. I super agree with this guy, Speaker Mike Johnson. At some point, Congress has to stop the endless cycle of out-of-control deficit spending. But this was back from 28. This is a 2018 post. Balanced budget or bust, at leader John Thune. It says it's a CNN opinion piece, I guess, from I don't know who. Oh, it's him. When did he write? 2011. Where is this John Thune? Where is the John Thune of 2020?
Call be lifted.
Without objection.
Well, their guy's in office now. So,
Madam President, once again this week, Republicans are bringing forward a proposal to provide additional coronavirus relief to help protect jobs, to get kids and teachers back in the classroom safely.
Oh, he fired Jared Isaacman. It says Jared Isaacman speaks out and it's clear that NASA lost a visionary leader. So I guess Trump fired him after hiring him and talking about how good he was. I got a call Friday of last week that the president has decided to go in a different direction. This is just from yesterday. So I guess he was just pointing out his hypocrisy. By the way, guys, consider supporting the show. That's how we pay the bills around here. One good thing, maybe I won't have to keep begging on the show like this, because I got another exam with the VA on the 16th. So hopefully that works out to be positive. You guys watch John Thune. I'll be right back. I got to piss.
And to provide funding for the treatments and vaccines we need to defeat this virus. And once again, Democrats are objecting. It's the same old song, Republicans' bill doesn't spend enough. Well, let's talk about that for a minute, Madam President. First of all, Republicans are not claiming that the bill that we put on the floor this week contains the last dollars that we'll need to spend in response to the coronavirus. We may need to spend more. This bill is simply an attempt to direct relief funds to some of the biggest priorities right now, like helping the hardest hit small businesses weather this crisis and providing more resources for testing, treatment, and vaccines. These are areas, Madam President, that we should all agree on. Second of all, Democrats' coronavirus proposal, the $3 trillion bill that they proposed, is both unrealistic and irresponsible.
By the way, I saw somebody did like this analysis of like tax rates and taxes that are paid. And basically it said that no matter what the tax rate is on the wealthy, by the time they itemize and use all their loopholes, they're all still paying around 10% federal taxes. I don't know how true that is. They seem to have the data to back it up, but I can't find it right now.
Responsible. Our nation is deeply, deeply in debt right now. Next year, our country will owe more than we produce for the first time since the end of World War II. That's a very bad place to be. That's getting toward the kind of debt to GDP ratio that helped bring about financial disaster in Greece. And while the United States is not Greece, if we grow our debt enough, what happened to the Greek economy could happen here. Being the United States of America does not exempt us from financial realities. Now, in times of crisis, sometimes you have to borrow money. And that's what we had to do earlier this year with the CARES Act and other coronavirus relief legislation. But, Madam President, we have an absolute responsibility to every American, to every hardworking individual in this country, to ensure that we are...
So basically, he was bitching back then. He's not there. Our nation is deeply, deeply in debt right now. Next year, our country will owe more, blah, blah, blah. Elon says, not even those in Congress who had to vote on the big, ugly spending bill had time to read it. The House has a 72-hour rule, which requires the bill to be posted 72 hours before the passage, but the Speaker circumvented this rule with a manager's amendment that rewrote and added substantial portions of the bill as it went through the Rules Committee the night the bill was passed. There's another House rule which requires a day to pass before voting on a bill after the Rules Committee has modified it. Would you believe that the House voted to suspend that so-called same-day rule? This means that the final language of the bill was released only a few minutes before debate began. The vote on the rule changed, and the vote on the bill followed within a couple of hours. Elon is right. Members of Congress didn't even know what was in the bill until the night it passed. A few other members have also made this clear. Marjorie Taylor Greene. It says not even those in Congress had time to read it. Where is the Mike Johnson of 2023? So he's just sharing all these things. The federal debt has just topped $31.4 trillion. You understand that there are two different people depending on if their president's in power, right? Tesla, Dojo, AI training computer making progress, restarting Dojo 2. This is me in 2021.
Credit. We don't need the $7,500 tax credit.
Oh, it's $7,500. I'm sorry. And it's good on used cars, too. Again, that's what I was saying.
I would say, honestly, I would just can this whole bill. Don't pass it. That's my recommendation.
What about the support, though, for the charging network? I mean, there are parts of this bill and no?
No, I mean, do we need support for gas stations? We don't. So there's no need for this for support for a charging network. I would delete it. Delete.
The support for the charging network, the reason he doesn't want it, don't get me wrong, he would take it if it just helped him, but it helped all the chargers, right? And he knows that he can build out his chargers and charge other companies to use them. Every car that you buy now comes with this fucking Tesla supercharger adapter, right?
There's no need for this for support for a charging network. I would delete it. Delete.
right.
I'm literally saying get rid of all subsidies.
Are you under the impression that any of us are Elon Musk fans?
Oil and gas. We don't need the $7,500 tax.
Also for oil and gas, he says, which I agree. I have a plan to cut spending, increase spending. He shares this. Where is the man who wrote these words? Was he replaced by a body double? I cannot believe the Republicans are extending the debt ceiling. I'm a Republican and I am embarrassed. That was in 2023. No, I'm sorry. That was in 2013. Yeah. No member of Congress should be eligible for re-election if our country's budget is not balanced, deficit's not allowed. 2012. No member of Congress should be eligible for re-election if our country's budget is not balanced, deficit is not allowed. 2012. Oh, I guess it's the same post twice, and he just shared it twice, I guess. Then you guys a laughing emoji, body double. Kill Bill. The Senate is losing confidence in the reconciliation bill. 48 hours ago, there was a 75% chance it was passed before July. Now it's 50% and dropping. On Kalshi, which is a place that you can bet on shit. News Tesla became the top-selling imported car brand in South Korea for the first time since entering the market, thanks to the new Model Y. Exactly. Some politicians get into politics to enrich themselves. Maybe that's why they can't imagine someone would judge a bill based on what's good for the country instead of what's good for their wallet. This article from December shows Elon wasn't in it for the EV tax credits. Musk calls for the ending of EV tax credit. We should get rid of all credits. From Forbes. Dragon arrives at the hangar. The big ugly bill will increase deficit to $2.5 trillion. Elon Musk, we have $2 trillion deficit. It keeps growing. Our interest payments are higher than our Defense Department budget. Here we go.
But we've got this enormous federal budget deficit, and it's a $2 trillion deficit. It keeps growing.
I got you.
Our interest payments are higher than our Defense Department budget. That's I think was the real wake-up call for me, was looking at seeing that the interest payments to national debt exceeded the Defense Department budget. And that was only growing over time, which meant if we didn't do something about this, then there won't be any money.
Wait a second. I want to hear this. This is Linda McMahon. Let's listen in. Oh, sorry. Let me get you some audio. It's not playing. It's muted. Let's hear what she says here. It's about the tax bill.
You yourself and your family, as a billionaire family of wealth of about $3.2 billion, can you share with us, do you know how much you and your family will receive in tax benefit if this Republican tax proposal gets pushed through?
No, I've not sat down and worked with my accountants on what tax. I can tell you most.
You have a general sense?
Well, I can tell you last time taxes went through, I paid more.
And so
most of these billionaires, we get about $4 million a credit.
You think that under this proposal, you will not, like the other billionaires, get millions or tens of millions of dollars in tax benefit?
I think this is kind of a ridiculous line of
questioning. No, it's not ridiculous, because here's what's important. The biggest bill being pushed by your administration for your average extremely wealthy person would give about a $4 million benefit. Your family's worth about $3.2 billion. So I imagine that you'd get millions of dollars in benefit from this tax bill. Does that make sense? Does that check out?
I don't know. I'd have to let you know.
Let's just
ask the member. She won't answer. And I guess I can't blame her. I wish people were more honest. But what's she supposed to say here? Like, yeah, we'd probably get millions of dollars back.
Chairman,
refers to
my
education.
Question. I'll refer to that, Secretary. So, okay, look, there are families watching at home from my district that could lose their health care. And they want to know why their health care would get taken away. And what it's paying for is overwhelmingly tax cuts for the wealthiest people in the country. And so what would you spend the $4 million on?
I agree. I'm actively struggling. We got fucked by Helene. We're still struggling.
Would get a benefit of at least $4 million.
Let's get to your educational line of questioning.
What would those families
in this committee?
What would those families who lose their health care, who are watching, what would you spend the $4 million on that's worth more than their health care?
I'm not going to address the questions relative to me personally. I'm here as the Secretary of Education, and I'm
okay. So as the Secretary of Education, then, as the Secretary of
Educate me on what you would use the $4 million for. Please say it.
Education. Do you think, yes or no, that kids will do better off in school if they have health care and their food needs met? Yes or no?
we all do better, and children will do better in school if their health needs are met. I agree with that.
Good. And so I guess for those kids, which there's going to be hundreds of thousands or millions of kids that lose their health care, how is it okay that they're going to lose their health care so that billionaires and billionaire families, I'm not just even picking just on you, but billionaire families like your own, can get a tax break? What, if you don't even know how many millions of dollars it is you get, how is that worth it?
I'm not going to respond to your question.
I think the answer is because it's not worth it. It's not. If you got 3 points.
Trump keeps saying, like, if this bill doesn't pass, all these tax cuts will expire. Let them fucking expire. We didn't have them before he passed this through with his beautiful tax bill or whatever the fuck he called it. Let them expire.
$2 billion or $5 billion or $10 billion.
Went off the premise that there's going to be health care that is going to be removed from these children. I'm not sure that is a correct premise. So
I'm not sure that these kids are actually going to lose health care. So I'll just keep my money and not answer.
Organization that's looked at this bill knows that millions of people will lose their health care. The latest estimate is at least 11 million people and families, because you wouldn't get the enormous savings that the Republican majority on this committee is looking for unless you kick those.
Right. They like to say, oh, no one's going to lose health care. Then how are you claiming that you're going to save these millions of dollars under Medicaid? If no one's getting kicked off of it and no one's getting kicked off food stamps, where's the savings coming from?
Millions of people off of their health care. So how can we educate our kids if they don't have a roof over their heads, if they can't see a doctor, if they don't have...
That shit pisses me off.
So I'll ask you, do you think it's right for kids to not have food to eat at home before they go to class in order to make sure that a billionaire that doesn't even know how many more millions of dollars they're going to get can just get a few million more?
I want to make sure that as the Secretary of the Department of Education, that the president's plan to make school choice available to every student in our country is what we follow.
And the president's plan
School choice.
Specifically.
School choice. Yeah, that'll do it.
From those kids. Specifically takes food away from those families. Specifically takes money and sends it to big contractors, big companies, and sends millions of dollars to billionaires like you who don't even know how many extra millions of dollars they're going to get. Before I was a member of Congress, I helped run an after-school program at a high school where many of the kids were getting driven to school in the same car that they slept in at night. They didn't have food. Many of them couldn't see a doctor. They struggled in class. We should be passing a bill to make sure that they've got a decent classroom experience, a roof over their head, food, and health care, not a bill that just funnels, who knows, in your opinion, how many millions of dollars to billionaires.
Oh, you're good, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. If you want to support the show, there's a bunch of ways to do it at coldbeer.fund. I try not to bring it up too much. I don't want to feel like a grifter. But, like I said, I do have another appointment with the VA on the 16th, so hopefully we'll get some word out of that.
Like those in President Trump's
gentleman's time has expired.
You yourself and your family.
It'll probably take at least a month, probably closer to like 3 before I hear anything about that. But we'll see. At least I got an appointment scheduled finally. All right, back to this.
I think that we've got this enormous federal budget deficit, and it's a $2 trillion deficit. It keeps growing. Our interest payments are higher than our Defense Department budget. That's I think was the real wake-up call for me, was looking at seeing that the interest payments to national debt exceeded the Defense Department budget. And that was only growing over time, which meant that if we didn't do something about this, then there won't be any money for anything. We'll just be servicing debt.
And you know how to read an income statement, and you know how to read a balance sheet. You've had some business experience. I'm kidding, but yeah.
By the way, this is on Elon Musk on Doge efforts to slash government waste. He didn't. He failed in his mission, so I don't even know why this is relevant.
You know about this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, really, I just don't want America to go bankrupt.
So it's a call to action. You're hearing a call to action.
Yeah.
You're giving up your other stuff.
I don't think anybody would have been mad if they would have found actual fraud, waste, and abuse. It's just not at the levels they need it to be for this to make sense. Instead, they found programs they do not like. And they're like, we're sending, condoms to Africa. Oh, I hate that. Well, that was appropriated and approved by Congress. So why didn't they go to they're always complaining about the DOD and slush funds and the Department of Defense spending and all their fucking contract. Why didn't they go? They didn't even touch anything there. That was weird.
Stuff? I mean, how are you running your other businesses?
With great difficulty. Yeah, I mean...
Military-industrial complex. That's what I was trying to say.
I'm just here trying to make government more efficient, eliminate waste and fraud,
and Trump's launching 2 new goddamn planes, the F-47 and the F-55 or some shit.
So far,
those are going to be bottomless fucking pits we can just throw money into.
Making good progress.
He's not wrong. This is the tweet we're working to. Without me, Trump would have lost the election. Dems would control the House, and the Republicans would be 51-49 in the Senate. Such ingratitude. Keep the EV and solar incentives. Cuts in the bill. Also, cut all the crazy spending increases in the big ugly bill so that America doesn't go bankrupt. Bankrupt. Elon has been publicly and privately saying he doesn't care about the EV tax credit since last year. This is direct from Forbes. Both he and Trump have also publicly together said this during speeches and rallies. The narrative that this tiff is because of EV credits is false. So they're finally calling Trump out, or at least somebody is. And the big ugly spending bill would make things much worse. This is Elon Musk is on point. Last year, my Festivus report, I exposed that in 2024 alone, America's paid $892 billion in interest. That's 10% of the entire federal budget. Gone. Not for bridges, schools, or healthcare, just to keep the creditors at bay. The creditors at bay. They want you to think this is like you having house credit and like you're not paying your bills and they're gonna come break your legs or something. That's not the way it works. But his Festivus shit is always fucking wrong. Always fucking wrong. Go through it. Everything he does in research is they're spending $9 million for Hamster Fight Club, right? To give steroids to hamsters and watch them fight. That's not true, right? We actually looked this one up. They were studying steroid use in rodents and how to combat the negative side effects from that, because we have an epidemic of young men trying steroids. And we're seeing that from that, they have anger issues, they have pituitary issues, they have growth issues, they have all kinds of shit, right? That comes to the Festivus report. He just takes something that's legitimate that he doesn't like, thinks, how can I put a whimsical phrase attached to this and say it's horrible? I have been very consistent just stating facts. Federal budget, you can't just spend... Oh, we haven't seen this one, I don't think.
The federal budget deficit is insane.
This is 2021.
$1 trillion federal expenditures are $7 trillion. Federal revenue is $4 trillion. That's a $3 trillion difference in... if this was a company, it would be a $3 trillion loss. So I don't know if we should be adding to that loss.
It's not a business, though, right? The government does a lot of things not to make profit. And that's okay, right? We don't have a food stamp program to make profit. Anybody that has a food stamp program to make profit, probably not the good guys.
Seems pretty crazy. Something's got to give. You can't just spend $3 trillion more than you own every year and expect, don't expect something bad to happen. I think, this is not good. The deficit is more than...
Coming from a guy that makes $8 million a day from the U.S. government. $8 million a day from the U.S. government.
When you look at the future obligations, so it's $7 trillion of current expenditures, but it's much more than that if you look at future obligations for Social Security, Medicare, and so forth. So we're running this incredible deficit. Someone's got to give. I don't know. This can't keep going. The federal budget deficit is insane.
Remember this? So breaking, Trump just went to bat for Elon Musk outside the White House while examining the tests. So true.
Elon called yet? They said, no, sir. The next day, what about Elon? Did he call? He never even mentioned it to me, never complained. Until this moment, I'm just bringing it up. Who would do that? Yeah. He has never asked me for a thing. And he's built this great company, and he shouldn't be penalized because he's a patriot. He's an incredible patriot. And I don't even know if he's a Republican.
You guys remember this fucking crazy goddamn White House car commercial?
Mr. President.
I cannot wait for as much ass kissing as on the Necessary Conversation podcast as they've done of Elon Musk and how he's a genius and how he's fixing everything and how he's the best guy and there's nobody like him and they love him. So I cannot wait for them to be like, he's a piece of shit. I can't believe he's always been bad. I never liked him.
Elon called yet?
I fully agree with Elon Musk. I simply hope this does not create long-term damage between Elon and Trump. Wise words. I couldn't agree more. Elon Musk, 100%. Elon has been entirely 100% consistent about this from the beginning. What a waste of time by our president rather than making this about Elon. Okay, here's the video clip.
So we've done a...
Trump speaks on Elon coming out against the big, beautiful bill.
So we've done a great job. Elon knew that. Elon endorsed me very strongly. He actually went up in campaign for me. I think I would have won. Susie would say I would have won Pennsylvania easily anyway, even.
Would have won Pennsylvania easily. You realize Elon was giving $1 million away to go vote.
If the governor ran, the real governor, not the governor from Minnesota, he's a sick puppy, that guy. That poor guy, I feel sorry for him. But they made a bad choice with him. But if you pick Shapiro or anybody else, I spoke to him recently about his house being set on fire, which was terrible. But if they picked him, I would have won Pennsylvania. I won it by a lot. But I'm very disappointed because Elon knew the inner workings of this bill better than almost anybody sitting here, better than you people. He knew everything about it. He had no problem with it. All of a sudden, he had a problem, and he only developed the problem when he found out that we're going to have to cut the EV mandate because that's billions and billions of dollars, and it really is unfair. We want to have cars of all types, electric.
So the people voting on it allegedly didn't have enough time to read it, but Elon Musk knew the inner workings of the bill better than anybody else.
We want to have electric, but we want to have a gasoline combustion. We want to have different. We want to have hybrids. We want to have all. We want to be able to sell everything. And when that was cut, and Congress wanted to cut it, he became a little bit different, and I can understand that. But he knew every aspect of this bill. He knew it better than almost anybody, and he never had a problem until right after he left. And if you saw the statements he made about me, which I'm sure you can get very easily, it's very fresh on tape, he said the most beautiful things about me. And he hasn't said bad about me personally, but I'm sure that'll be next. But I'm very disappointed in Elon. I've helped Elon a lot.
Did he, I just want to clarify, did he raise any of these concerns with you privately before he raised them publicly? And this is the guy you put in charge of cutting spending. Should people not take him seriously about spending? Now you're saying it's all sour grapes.
No, he worked hard, and he did a good job. And I'll be honest, I think he misses the place. I think he got out there, and all of a sudden he wasn't in this beautiful Oval Office, and he's got nice offices too. But there's something about this one. I was telling the Chancellor, this is where it is. People come in here, even from Germany. They come in and they walk into the Oval Office, and it's just a special place. It's World War I, it started and it ended here, and World War II, and so many other things. Everything big comes right from this beautiful space. It's now much more beautiful than it was 6 months ago. A lot of good things are happening in this room, and I'll tell you, he's not the first. People leave my administration, and they love us. And then at some point they miss it so badly, and some of them embrace it, and some of them actually become hostile. I don't know what it is. It's sort of Trump derangement syndrome, I guess they call it. But we have it with others too. They leave, and they wake up in the morning, and the glamour's gone. The whole world is different, and they become hostile. I don't know what it is. Someday you'll write a book about it, and you'll let us know. Yeah.
He's the president speaking of ending wars.
So Elon has Trump derangement syndrome. Syndrome.
World War I, it started and it ended here, and World War II, and so many other things. Everything big comes right from.
And this is the guy you put in charge of.
Disappointed in Elon. I've helped Elon a lot. Electric, but we want to have.
What do you mean you've helped him a lot? You mean you've done personal favors for him?
Gasoline, combustion. We want to have different. We want to have hybrids. We want to have all. We want to be able to sell everything. And when that was cut, and Congress wanted to cut.
It looks like he's wearing a yarmulke. I don't want to get the crazy Jew people here, but that dark spot on the back of his hair looks like he's wearing a little yarmulke.
He became a little bit different, and I can understand that. But he knew every aspect of this bill. He knew it better than almost anybody, and he never had a problem until right after he left. And if you saw the statements he made about me, which I'm sure you can get very easily, it's very fresh on tape, he said the most beautiful things about me. And he hasn't said bad about me personally, but I'm sure that'll be next. But I'm very disappointed in Elon. I've helped Elon a lot.
I just want to clarify, did he raise any of these concerns with you?
Helped him a lot. Weird. You mean you did special favors for him because he was your friend, or what?
Things about me. And he hasn't said bad about me personally, but I'm sure that'll be next. But I'm very disappointed in Elon. I've helped Elon a lot.
I just want to clarify, did he raise any of these concerns with you privately before he raised them publicly? And this is the guy you put in charge of cutting spending. Should people not take him seriously about spending? And now you're saying this is all sour grapes.
No, he worked hard, and he did a good job. And I'll be honest, I think he misses the place. I think he got out there, and all of a sudden he...
Just because he misses me so much. It's like when a kid acts out. A kid acts out at school just because they're homesick or whatever.
Wasn't in this beautiful Oval Office, and he's got nice offices too. But there's something about this one. I was telling the Chancellor, this is where it is. People come in here.
That weird bald spot is something special on Trump, dude. Did he have brain surgery? Did he do one of Bongino's face swaps?
This is where it is. People come in here, even from Germany. They come in and they walk into the Oval Office, and it's just a special place. It's World War I, it started and it ended here, and World War II, and so many other things. Everything big comes right from this beautiful space. It's now much more beautiful than it was 6 months ago. A lot of good things are happening in this room, and
you're also not allowed to say his neck fat looks like a vagina. I heard you get deported for that one.
I'll tell you, he's not the first. Administration. and they love us. And then at some point they miss it so badly, and
got that neck labia.
Some of them embrace it, and some of them actually become hostile. I don't know what it is. It's sort of Trump derangement syndrome, I guess they call it. But we have it with us.
He's got TDS. People who leave here, they miss it so bad they get deranged.
Others too. They leave, and they wake up in the morning, and
they think, "What is the point? Why am I even living anymore if I can't be next to Trump in the White House?" I can understand if he was saying this about something like this guy's the richest guy in the world. You think he misses hanging out with you? He could buy 15 of you body doubles to hang out with him. He could probably buy a nation in Africa.
And they wake up in the morning, and the glamour's gone. It's different, and they become hostile. I don't know what it is. Someday you'll write a book about it, and you'll let us know. Yeah.
Someday you'll write a book about Trump derangement, and you'll let us know. You guys are the book writers, whatever they call that. Exactly. Trump administration should recognize Elon's point about the budget and build a bridge with him and the majority of Americans who want to see us cut spending. Elon Musk. 100%. No member of Congress should be eligible for re-election if the country's budget is not balanced. We saw that again. Where is this guy today? It's a bunch of Trump posts about the budget. Elon continues to mount the high school pressure campaign.
Progress being made in the Senate to get the votes to pass this bill, or are you
Rep. Andy Vogel voted for the bill.
anticipating that the Senate will make some revision and send it back to the House?
Well, I would say that, from the House perspective, or at least my perspective, it's big. It's not quite beautiful yet. And so maybe this is the opportunity. With Elon coming out, criticizing the bill, maybe we'll see some...
And he voted for it. Now he's walking this back.
Senators make some changes, make some additional cuts, and then likely it'll pass, and then it comes back to us. Now, that'll put a few of my House colleagues in a box, but at the end of the day, that's what we promised the American people. And, right now, there doesn't seem to be quite a consensus forming in the Senate as what the direction is going to be. So I think it's kind of, what I'll say is Elon, I think, reset the conversation with his most recent tweets, for better or worse. But again, I think the Mike Lees and some of the more conservative senators, that emboldens them to try to get more, again, make it truly big and beautiful, not just big.
He's like, oh, it's not there yet, but why'd you vote for it, you fucking retard? False. This bill was never shown to me, not even once, and was passed in the dead of night so fast that almost no one in Congress even read it. That's the problem with having a majority like they do, right? And only needing 50 votes or a simple majority to pass it. If they needed to convince some people to vote for it, it would be a much slower process, right?
But if they picked him, I would have won Pennsylvania. I won it by a lot.
Same clip.
Elon, billions and billions of dollars, and it really is unfair. We want to have cars of all types. Electric, we want to have electric. But
obviously, it's not about the EV tax credit. U.S. inches towards $37 trillion in national debt. Whatever. Keep the EV solar incentive cuts in the bill, even though no oil and gas subsidies are touched. Very unfair. But ditch the mountain of disgusting pork in the bill. In the entire history of civilization, there's never been legislation both big and beautiful. Everyone knows this. Either you get a big and ugly bill or a slim and beautiful bill. Slim and beautiful is the way. Keep the good, remove the bad. Sensible move by President. Democrats are calling Trump's decision to end federal funding for California's high-speed rail project heartless. With just 35 years left to complete the project, was so close to completion. You could almost imagine your grandchildren riding the rails. The good news is, didn't Elon Musk say he was going to do a fucking Hyperloop thing and never delivered on that? Whatever. Slim, beautiful bill for the win. I couldn't agree more. No member of Congress. Musk is frustrated. Oh, this was funny.
He's frustrated. I think he believes, in my judgment correctly, that we're quickly becoming debt slaves, that Congress needs to relearn the magical healing power of no. And I agree with him. Having said that, I'm not ready to throw in the towel on this bill. He's frustrated.
Of course you're not ready to throw in the towel. You voted for it, you retard. Four essential functions of the government, according to Milton Friedman: defense from foreign enemies, protect the individual citizen from abuse, coercion by other citizens, define the rules, judicial system, a mechanism for adjudicating disputes around the meaning of the rules. Wise words again. Elon Musk: my initial interest in electric cars and solar was not environmentally driven. It was rather from the standpoint that we must have a long-term solution for the production of energy. Yes, the majority of Republican voters strongly agree with Elon and want the BBB trimmed down. Breaking X is now the #1 news app on the App Store. Community notes show when they're found helpful by people who normally disagree. What if we could do the same for posts, recognizing posts, whatever? That's what it comes down to.
Almost federal. I mean, frankly, I can't believe I'm here doing this. It's kind of bizarre, but
that's still on Doge. Great work turning a lengthy paperwork retirement process into a simple digital one. Yeah, now we're getting outside of it, I think. America's going bankrupt. I wanted to see the one where he originally shared that Trump wouldn't have won without him. How so ungrateful, which is crazy. Crazy. Ineligible for re-election if the deficit is more than 3% of GDP. Calling him out and saying he would have never won without me. That shouldn't be a shock to anyone. Money Doge has saved the government. Trump's big, beautiful bill hidden in the school bus. Every GOP member of Congress should grok November 5th election results as a reminder to who won and why. We voted for spending cuts. We voted for a closed border. Conservatives, Elon's right. Trump's wrong. The $5 trillion lie, while Rand and Elon are right about the debt slavery bill. Pretty much sums it up. Remy raised the debt ceiling rap. Happy 15th birthday to Falcon. Elon is right. A bill is either big or beautiful. Thomas Massey was right. Republicans voting for the big, beautiful bill. Yes, you all are all wrong. Thomas Massey standing alone. Republican voters, so when do we stop the spending? That's the neat part. We don't. That's a pretty funny meme. To be clear, I support making the tax cuts permanent and disagree with CBO's claim that they add to the debt. Of course they add to the debt. Where do you think we get money from? Where do you think we turn this profit? From taxes. Constitutional amendment rendering all members of Congress ineligible for re-election whenever the federal deficit exceeds 3% of GDP. Real tax on the American people is what the government spends. I think the bill could be big or beautiful. Oh, the same one. It's not right versus left. It's establishment versus Americans. Well, then Trump's the establishment, I guess. How much will the Republican reconciliation bill cost? 10% of national debt in one bill. Our government is out of control. The big, beautiful bill is a debt bomb ticking. It's also the biggest missed opportunity conservatives have ever had to put our country. Oh, that was from Thomas Massey. We read that the other night. Anyways, that's the fight. Oh, there's the kill bill thing he shared earlier. Call your senator, call your congressman. Bankrupting America is not okay. Kill the bill. This is before him and Trump had the back and forth, though. Flatten the curve. When are they going to flatten this curve? That's spending or national debt. 77 million Americans voted for Doge cuts, not Washington wasteful spending, says John Rose. So there you go. There's the back and forth from Trump's side, from Elon's side. It's a mess, honestly. I got one more video that's kind of funny. This is probably kind of old, but I remember when this happened. Check this out. This is from Vice News. This at least put a smile on your face before we leave. This guy's got a sticker on the back of his truck that says "I eat ass." Oh, hold on.
Believe it or not, I got pulled over the same exact spot I got the I eat ass sticker made. Seatbelts were on, it's a new truck, so all my lights work. There's nothing wrong with this. Why am I getting pulled over?
Do you have any weapons on you? Step out.
Pulled over and he walked up, hey, do you know how to breathe?
Always in Florida.
No, why? Like, your sticker's derogatory, and I was just...
I already bought 3 Teslas. Well, that was silly.
Really?
I have 4 kids. If my 6-year-old was to look at me and be like, Dad, what does I eat ass mean? Okay, I'd be furious.
And then he's like, want me to take a letter off? I'm like, no, you're not doing that. I just spent $35 on it.
So it says I eat ass, and he's like, you're going to take that off right now. And he's like, no, I'm not. I just spent $35 on it.
I'm taking it off.
I'm going to have you take off one of those letters so that the word...
You're not refreshing my First Amendment right. You're not doing that. I'm going to need a copy of your ID, too.
So what do you think happens here? By the way, we'll go back to where it was. What do you think happens here? He says, I'm not taking it off, and I need your information. What do you think happens here?
Pulled over, and he walked up, hey,
letter so that the...
Ticket. This cop takes him to fucking jail over a sticker on the back of his truck that says, I eat ass. He arrests him.
You're not refreshing my First Amendment right. You're not doing that. I'm going to need a copy of your ID, too.
It's all on that ticket right there. So, all right, hang tight right there for me then.
Resisting an officer without violence.
He calls He calls his supervisor and is like, he's resisting me without violence because I told him to take a sticker off so it doesn't say ass.
Is a first-degree misdemeanor under Florida law, which means it's punishable by up to a year in jail. When I first spoke with Dylan, I thought there had to be more to the story.
So
this is lawyer.
Call a supervisor.
I asked him to take one of the letters off so that it is no longer derogatory, and he is refusing. Is that not resisting?
Well, what are you charging him with?
I'm charging him with obscene riding on a vehicle.
Is it a citable offense, like traffic citation?
No, it's a misdemeanor. Like it's in the quick reference guide.
There's no alternative motivation for pulling him over. It was purely the speech, and that's what the deputy said himself.
If I would have took that sticker off, I basically would have said, First Amendment, throw it in the trash, don't need it. But this is a real issue, happens every day.
Dylan was entirely justified in refusing.
It says, I eat ass.
It literally says, all in capital letters, I eat ass.
All right, make sure you take pictures of all of that, arrest him, take him to jail, tow his shit. That way you can get it off the road, you know what I'm saying?
And towing his brand new truck, dude. And towing his brand new truck. I don't know if there's, he ends up going to court for this and winning. This happened way back. Hold on. I think the cop ended up getting qualified immunity, so he didn't get in jail. He didn't get in trouble. The charges were later dropped, with the assistant state attorney citing the First Amendment as the basis for the decision. A federal judge later ruled that the arrest was arguably justified under Florida's obscenity law, leading to a lawsuit against the officers for alleged First and Fourth Amendment violations. However, the judge ultimately ruled that the officers were entitled to qualified immunity. But that won't happen again. It only happens for the first one who fucks it up. It only happens for the first one who fucks it up, so qualified immunity won't stand anymore. But there you go. He ends up getting the charges dropped, but he can't sue either because qualified immunity. So, all right, it's a funny sticker. I like it. I ate ass too. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. Support the show if you want to. Coldbeer.fund, coldbeer.fund. That's how you donate. I'm out of here for the night. I'll be back tomorrow. Oh, there was another, a baby. I guess I could show you guys this before we leave. A baby copperhead at the campground killed. I don't know if I might have to send it to myself. Hold on. Baby copperheads are pretty dangerous. They don't know how to really regulate their venom yet. And a lot of times they'll send a fucking shitload of venom in a bite. So you gotta be careful with that. Little baby copperhead. We got another one. All copperheads all the time. Boom. You can see the yellow on its tail. See that little yellow tip there? That's a little one. That's a little one. Litlin. Little baby copperhead. Dead as fuck, dude. I didn't actually kill it. Mariah called me and she's like, you need to come home. There's no snake here. They've got it trapped. But one of the other people that's staying there, her and her brother who come to visit, killed it. But I got a picture of it. So there you go. Little baby. Little baby. We've killed, that makes the fourth one this year that we've killed at the campground. So it's obviously going to be a bad year for copperheads at the campground. Thank you guys for being here. Thanks for joining us. See you on the next one. Support the show if you can over at coldbeer.fund, coldbeer.fund. There's a bunch of donation links and ways to follow me on my other social medias, and I will see you tomorrow, lovers. Good night, daddies.
But I can tell you this about if this douchebag happens to see.
I usually either use a really sharp straight hoe or a pair of those. They almost look like a bird's mouth, but they're like to lop off tree limbs.
You don't have the fork and balls. You don't have the balls.
No, the other copperheads were bigger, actually. Let me see. I posted on my own Discord. Copperheads don't get huge, but the other ones were Pretty good size. Here's one.
You know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. And they say that I'm a lunatic.
This is on a shovel. This one's probably 2.5 feet or so. Man, probably closer to 3 feet, maybe.
Jesus. Praise the Lord.
It's a fat bastard, though. The Deadly Hershey Kisses. Both of them are about this size, about 3 feet or so. But they don't get huge like the rattlesnake we killed. That motherfucker was probably 5.5 feet. And it was, goddamn, it was, let's
like
see,
a
camera.
ninja.
It was like, the center of it was as big around as a baseball, dude. That thing was thick.
A retard in a vest climbing up 5G towers, cause you told him if he did, he'd get fucking superpowers. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss him off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in them bets, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss him off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in them bets, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet.
My dove freaked out. Your dove saw the picture and was like, what the fuck? And that's crazy. I ran up to the at the campground, like sprinted up to the owner's house the other morning when I got up because I heard the chicken going crazy. And usually the chicken, when the chicken's going wild, it means that it saw a snake. Like when a snake, even a black snake or whatever, when it sees a snake, it like freaks out, flaps its wings, screams, makes all kind of noise, kicks up dirt. And I heard it freaking out and I thought, God damn it. I hope it's not a copperhead or another rattlesnake. Because the first rattlesnake we found right outside the chicken coop. So I went running the fuck up there. It turns out it was just fighting a squirrel. It was just casually fighting a squirrel. So false alarm.
Wait. Stop. What? I'll get my files. Wait, what are you doing? Stop. Hold on. Fucking stop. Dude, come on. Seriously. My mom's an alcoholic.
Oh, that's cool, Sarasota. Damn it. She got the fuck out of there, huh? Sarasota, fuck out of here.
It's about to get lit. Get the place in them bets. You know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss him off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in them bets. You know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Round 3.
I heard there's a substantial lack of these nuts, so probably not a good time to be a squirrel.
Now things are getting rocking, he was doing so well. It's all over, hands on his shoulders, they ring.
Good point.
You got Frog News Network too. No damn.
Happy birthday to my nephew. It's his birthday today, before midnight. And yesterday was my sister's birthday, so happy birthday to those guys.
All this nonsense on my conscience, it's hard to sleep at night. Who the fuck is in my window with this time of the night? These parasites, these leeches, with all their secret meetings, teaching all you fucking cretins about baby-eating heathens. Believing in reasons with no meaning is bullshit. Will Bird motherfuckers out here busting the grifts. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in them bets, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in them bets, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet.
Spicy is a big Ryan Upchurch fan. She's all about those holler boys. HB, that's right, Spicy.
Mother's basement, and I won't even.
I forgot to show you, Spicy started a bluegrass band with a couple elderly women here in America. I'll have to show you that video tomorrow, I guess.